welcome back to ESL Prem, powered by Intel and gaming from Curry's PC World. I'm your host, Gio, and we're here for week 2. And of course, I'm joined by some slightly more familiar faces, Demo and Des.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Wow.
Hey Demo, how's it going?
Hi.
I was told to stay off camera for this initial shot, and we thought it'd be great to cuddle, and I'm really glad I did, because now I feel so much closer to you.
Should we stop now?
Yeah, let's stop now.
I think we should stop.
Meanwhile, I'm feeling a bit lonely over here.
Sorry, Gio.
But
You don't get
it's
a hug.
fine. No, I just don't
The
really
only
want
life of a host.
So, you guys excited for week 2?
Very much so. Obviously, this is kind of a faux week 2, because last week we had the issues that have now got us into kind of a week 3, but still week 2 of the games that we're going to be seeing today. And, well, it's still in that kind of exciting early phase of the season where we're not quite sure what teams are going for yet. We see a lot of draws or close games last week. Everything's kind of up in the air today, which makes for an exciting broadcast.
Yeah, it's early enough. I think that around about week 5, we should have a bit more of a familiar standpoint in where we're going to see the playoffs go, and then, of course, finally into our finals.
Well, before we take a look at what's happening this week, let's just have a quick recap of what was going on in week 1.
So, we go into our replays from last weekend. This is our first match, Wind and Rain versus Exillium. And this was a pretty much a heated matchup. Went right to the wire, went up in towards that 6-6, and then we move on to our second match, which was M&M against Exillium, so the top dogs versus the much bottom feeders of the league.
Yeah, 7-1 was a very dominant score, and as you'd expect for the newly qualified Pro League team as well. Of course, congratulations to those guys once again. I didn't see that one before, but that is equally absolutely fantastic. It's very much so the same story here between Secret and Who Knows as well. A very close affair. Yeah. Who Knows, some were saying last week basically threw away this final round where they were in a spot to beat the former Pro League team, who are now, of course, in Challenger League. But hey, 6-6 was the scoreline there as well, and like I said, there were a couple of draws last week, so again, everything's still pretty open. No one's really quite sure who the one big dominant team is yet, except for maybe you'd argue M&M.
Yeah, it'll take a while. M&M, obviously, Pro League team. Only Pro League team after knocking out team, well, didn't necessarily knock out Team Secret personally, but did add into that cause. But overall, I think it was a good showing from week 1. But early days, teams there like Exillium, not over yet. There's plenty of time for them to go up against teams that are much more on their caliber. You know, going up against M&M, the champions, that Pro League team. It took a lot to really go into that, and they did get around at least.
Yeah, I suppose that's the thing. When you come in, you don't necessarily expect to be facing immediately the top dog. And when you have a kind of score like that, it's not too out of the ordinary, but there's still a chance, as you guys say.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you have to beat the best to be the best. Like, it's a very much so common cliched saying, but it's very true. You've got to bring down M&M if you want to be the ones walking away with that trophy at the end of the season. Tall order, sure, but it's still a thing that everybody's got to do at some time or another, so why not start in week 1, or try to in this case.
It's always going to be M&M's trophy to lose. That's what it's always going to be. It's up to the other teams to see if they want to win that, but I think as we start to edge on, we're always going to favour M&M no matter what matchup they play.
Well, they can at least say that they've got that, you know, done and over with, but let's have a look at the top plays from last week.
Pengu with a run-out kill over onto Reese. That means there's only one player left on the site, but Jesus is going to push and grab that kill. The diffuser is going down. Pengu's now made his way up to the top of main stairs. He's going to get cut down as Tyrant watches the flank. Jesus is going to get that out in a trade. 2 versus 1 now for Wind and Rain. Jesus there with a brilliant pre-fire peek over onto the head glitching player near the bomb. That's going to be Blackout. Now a 1 versus 1. Who'd have thought we would see this get to a 1 versus 1 from a 5 versus 2? Jesus is going to clutch it. What a fantastic clutch there from Exillium.
He will find that Maestro, who of course caused them a lot of issues the last time. But Pengu has got the plant down successfully before Reese has smoked him out with the Toxic Babe. Tyrant could be off for the retake. He manages to find Tangy D, but still in the post-plant scenario, getting shot by Reese, and it will land. But Tyrant and both Reese on such low HP. It's down to Danny to try and hold the flank as much as he can, because of course Jesus is up close and personal, but he will lose the fight. And so, well, it's going to be Danny losing it. Wow, what a retake from both Reese and Tyrant.
And they do, of course, last for a limited period of time now as well. Pi getting super aggressive and picks up the headshot without even aiming down the sight. So he's going to throw a C4. It is not going to hit, unfortunately for him. He is going to get aggressive on it as well and find one onto a lens. That was definitely shotgun range material, but no, he's going to make the SMG work as well. Surely the push is going to come in now, but no, he's got the shotgun out. Nathan's going to steal that one away from him. He is seeing some pressure from somewhere. Gets a glimpse over onto Mirror, but no, it's going to be Dumpling that shuts him down. Shermie is just playing his time. Dumpling going to go for the wide peek out, and he does manage to get the down and convert it into a kill. That's going to be the diffuser down.
Dumpling does not have his Nitro Cell, so that is something to keep in mind for those light positions, but the Vector still a great high rate of fire, and it will land the head on the Spark. So Sloppy, he will find Kanan, but with no time, no diffuser, no hope, no luck, no chance. T3H take their first win of the ESL Premiership.
Now, we of course put it up to the vote to see who got the top play, and it did go to Pi with his strong defense.
Would you use strong as the right word to describe that defense?
A little bit flustered, I think, more than anything. There was moments there where Pi was a little bit shaky, but I'd give him credit for the drop shot. I haven't seen one of those in a while.
We'll take it.
It was a hard drop shot, to be fair. Like, take some skill.
It's the cheekiest one as being there in front of a window, still knowing that someone can literally walk up and do that. And he caught it in the commentary a second ago as well. Shotgun range, but no shotgun.
Yeah, that's true. He did whiff a C4 though.
Yeah.
So we'll have to, we'll kind of balance it. I would give a solid 8 out of 10. I wouldn't say it was the strongest.
I think that was more just prep. He wanted to disappoint everyone first with the C4 so that the kills were even more oppressive. That's the whole psychology I'm going by here.
I mean, Demo, I think you put it rather aptly earlier where you turned around to Des and you went, would you be able to do that? And shut it up.
I'd get
quickly.
the C4 through the hole and then miss every single shot after that, basically.
Yes, which
Silver
is
life.
better.
Yes, I
Well,
can do that.
I'm sure you could, mate.
Let's just have a quick look at the social media. Don't forget to be following at ESL UK on Twitter and use the hashtag ESL Prem when you want to be talking about the tournament. We also, of course, have our other social medias, which you can see down there. ESL UK on Facebook, ESL.UK on Instagram, ESL UK on YouTube, and ESL.in/Rainbow6 if you want to go and see the website. And of course, on social media, you always get the opportunity to vote for the Prem VP, which for week 1 went to Fonkers.
And me. That word still.
What, Fonkers or Prem VP?
Fonkers is bonkers, dude. The guy's an absolute...
Come through as the plant is going down. 50 seconds left on the clock. No Thumb's pushing through. Nathan grabs one onto Pleb, but Fonkers trading it straight back out. No Thumb's getting a second. All of a sudden we find ourselves in a 1 versus 1. The diffuser is down, but Fonkers is not in a great place. But I believe if No Thumbs just tries to stick this diffuse, you could see some success, but the floor is open underneath it. He's going to try a cheeky long arm. There you can see now. The breach charge comes through. Fonkers showing why he is a top tier player.
Ready for that. Well, Meepy, not even using an ACOG, a red dot MP5. He will get felled by Alpheus over towards those windows. And it will become an advantage, not for long. Fonkers goes for the Hail Mary play, and here comes someone else. The shotgun comes out. Gets sent flying with Fonkers to the Nitro Cell, and Nathan does not have any air jabs left. He's placed them in towards those flank positions, and Prox finds Meepy. So the push will start to come in, but the refrags, and somehow Fonkers is left inside of a 1 versus 2. As the diffuser, I'm sure, will be planted momentarily. Prox and No Thumbs last up. Fonkers will try and fight through. He's getting pressure by both angles, and will win that conflict.
So you two just arguing about solo queue. Instead of giving Fonkers his
I'm not
true
arguing. I'm
glory.
being educated. This guy does know more. Like we discussed this earlier on. If you ask Demo what 2 + 2 is, he won't be able to tell you. You ask him about any number or any detail of Siege,
It's
he'll tell
4.
you. It's 5. Come on, you should know this by now.
All right, well, we've had a look at week 1 now, so it's time to move on to week 2, the week that we are in the present. So let's have a look at the schedule for today. So, of course, we're going to be starting off with T3H versus Who Knows and Exillium versus Wind and Rain following that. And our last 2 matches have been rescheduled, but, what are you guys thinking about those first 2 games?
Talk to me, Demo.
Well, we can already see Team Secret and M&M will not be playing tonight. Bit of a disappointment we're not seeing the 2 big dogs, but we still do have matches here nonetheless. T4H and Who Knows is going to be our first match, and let's have a little in-depth context, because I think both of these teams, I want to see more. I still want to see more. I feel as if I can get a better feel for them this week. I thought last week, yes, Who Knows put up that magnificent performance against Team Secret. T4H, they took their win, but I would like to see a different map to then kind of compare playstyles from what we've seen. So I still think early days for both these teams. I think both teams can possibly contend for that top echelon of a playoff spot. But again, time will tell, and I'm excited to see this match.
What I quite like about it as well is that both teams had really close games last week. There's no kind of one side got rolled over, so you're like, oh, well, they played bad.
Rounds. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, you can't turn around and say that one team played bad last week. Sure, it was scrappy, and there were maybe mistakes both sides are making that can be rectified. But either way, it brings you into this game and the expectation that because last week was so close, this should be a close match as well.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. T3H did win their game, so they do have 3 points on the board. But who knows? They drew against Team Secret, which is, you know, not a bad thing to say that you've done.
It's a real hard one at this point, because I think we're all still trying to gauge exactly where Secret sit right now. Is, yes, you've just bottomed out of Pro League. Yes, it feels quite tough right now. Are they there for all these teams that are kind of snapping at the bottom, like Piranha's waiting to just jump on this team that's like literally in free fall right now? They've changed a couple of members around as well, or one member in this case as well. I think it's Plebma who was replaced yesterday or left yesterday.
Yeah, he's been removed as a substitute, which is quite disappointing. I'm a big fan of Plebma.
I love him.
I thought that he could really give us a lot more this season, but again, we can only send out commiserations, and we hope that you can find a home somewhere else. So any Prem teams out there who may be struggling for players, definitely look at that guy, because he can be your man.
We had breakfast together back in Prem Finals, and he's a super chilled out guy, like genuinely really nice to sit down and talk with. So hey, you got a PMA guy. He's the boy top on the team.
There is a date with Plebma. Well, let's have a look at the rosters before we go into the game. Here on T3H, we have Lucky, Penguin, Keenan, Tank, and Oregon. Tank, of course, going to be taking the place of where Dumpling was playing last week. And then on Who Knows, we have No Thumbs, Nathan, Alfie, Pi, and Prox.
So much history looking at those two teams as well. I love it. Two former Pro League players on the first side as well. You're seeing here as well in Lucky and Tank Ninjas. On the other side, a lot of guys that we know back from the Xbox scene.
Yeah, we know No Thumbs, we know Naif. T4H lineup, you know Lucky, used to play for Team Secret. Tank used to be in Pro League, used to team with the likes of Kendrew and Meads, who are now also in their respective teams, of course. Keenan is the guy who kind of impressed me last week, and I thought Penguin, he played out of his skin.
He had 13 kills, I think, last week.
Yeah, he played really good. I would like to see more from Oregon, though. I would like to see more, because I know the skill cap that guy can go to, and that is not his full pill. I know what that looks like. I remember casting him back whenever he was with the main T4H roster, whenever you had people like Panari, they played it, DreamHack, Valencia, and different stuff like that. That was whenever that roster really stood out. You'd Sir Boss playing for that roster. I know what that guy can do, and I hope to see it here tonight.
Well, we can see on the screen just now what their upcoming schedule is for the rest of the season. This is T3H, of course, we'll be starting with. So obviously this week they're going to be playing Who Knows, and then they'll be going on to face Aquila, Exillium, and then M&M in the final week.
It does mean in those final few weeks, so you've got Secret and M&M to come up against.
They have an easy start, but
it's a nice introduction, we'll say that much. It does get tougher towards the end, but again, you've got to beat the best to be the best, so take them whenever you can.
Yeah, they can get that practice as they go on through the first 3 weeks, and then boom,
yes,
they're
ready. Yes.
I like the physical representation there, and boom.
Just
the question is which way the boom's gonna go.
Yeah, I think against M&M you have a pretty good guess, but
well, we'll have to wait and see for that one. And then Who Knows, of course, their roster, as we can see on the screen right now, and their upcoming schedule will be just on your screen now. So of course, facing T3H today, and then moving on. It's not going to be quite as difficult an upcoming schedule as we perhaps think that T3H might be having.
No, Who Knows, they kind of had, yes, Team Secret, hard enough matchup. T4H, yes, I think it is, again, two teams that are very contested against each other. Epsilon, but I think more of a weaker side compared to Who Knows, and then they kind of get with a much more tougher opponent, Wind and Rains there, and then whenever they go for week 6, week 7, they still have M&M to face, so they have much more of a okay game, tough game, okay game, that kind of format.
Yeah. It's a fun one as well, because again, these are some players that we know from back in the Xbox days. Back when Prem first moved over to PC, I remember guys like Nathan being in there. Jake, No Thumbs, I'm rooting for you, buddy. I celebrated that 1 kill you got last season. Today, I wanted to see more dubs. Let's get it.
And people say I'm biased towards Leon Gids.
I was going to say, biased caster is disgusting.
You have like a shrine at your home, though, too.
But
I've seen the pictures.
Does No Thumbs have a copy pasta made about him?
Good question, does he?
Does Leon?
Probably.
Yes, he does.
Probably because he made it.
I didn't make that. This was like way back whenever it was, what, Season 6 of
Resident
Challenge League?
Sleeper demo, that's all I'm saying, mate.
Like, that was way back when.
It's all good.
Well, how about we find out what maps are going to be played?
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I think that would be great as well. So, of course, both Consulate and Clubhouse, they're going to be automatically banned, as those teams did play those maps last week, and you can't play the same map in a week following the week that you already played it. And so, looking like they're going to be playing Villa.
I still love Villa as a map at the minute. I think it's one of those maps that teams still haven't fully discovered yet. Some teams are still pulling out some wicked stuff on there, and the recent changes to Capital make it even more fun, because you can basically just flame out an entire room, and suddenly a whole strategy can be upset.
Yeah, that was quite interesting from T3H. They had the choice to play either Coastline or Villa. They went for the Villa pick, whereas Coastline has been much more of a comfortable map for nearly every team that we've seen in the past history of Rainbow Six. Whenever Coastline was added in, every team could play it. There was never really any issues with that. But Villa is still the newest map, statistically.
In the pool.
Yes, in the pool. We'll see if that gets changed later on. Hopefully it does. But for Villa, I still think that there's a lot more we can explore with that map. I feel as if the bottom floor still has so much viability that teams do not take advantage of. We're seeing much more downstairs roam presence. And I would say that we're going to see a lot more probably from the Who Knows lineup. They have people like Pi who can really utilize those rotations. But for Villa, I like that both these teams are going to be playing it, because we can see more than likely weaknesses compared to strengths in a map such as that, because it's a very hard map to play for much newer teams. We'll say newer teams who have not been together for over the 6-month period.
It's one of those maps where I feel as well, if you are an experienced team and you know how you can cut this map in half, you can basically just completely cordon half off. If a team is then split, it's like trying to play through on Clubhouse, trying to play through Garage. Once you get that wall open, it's just so difficult to play through. So it's all going to come down to, I think, experience with the map between these two teams here. And like you say, I'm curious to know why T3H chose to go to it, but time will tell.
So, we move into our banning phase, and Maverick off the board. An operator which I don't think that you need to ban on Villa, but it has been very common as of late.
I'm not too sold on it as a ban either. Again, I'm expecting to see a Capital here again for the exact reason of since the buffs. Nomad's one because of the current things going on with Claymores, for one.
But you shouldn't ban her. That's the thing.
Okay. That leaves Thermite up as our only hard breach. That gives you much more risk where you can't afford to play double hard breach anymore. You're relying solely on your Thermite to stay alive. We've seen a few aggressive support players in Prem a few times over the last couple of seasons.
We've seen more Thermite bans on Villa than we have Hibana. Because I feel as if Thermite's a lot more useful in terms of the walls. You think about those top floors.
There's always the double or triple walls that you're looking
Statue
towards.
trophy. It's very easy just to open up that wall. There's only 2 doorways. You have 2 people watching those flanks. It's not as if you're putting yourself in such a risky position on maps like Clubhouse, where you need to have Hibana to get open stuff at distance, for example, if you're trying to...
Lights down, please.
Bandit triggers or anything like that. I think overall, those bans look pretty standard. You know, Mira gone, no surprise. You have Maestro there as well. I think Maestro has really fallen off the back end of his nerf.
I don't know. You're still seeing him pick more often than not. Intel is becoming such a big thing for a lot of teams, especially on maps like this one, where it's so expansive and there's so many opportunities that you need to know where the attack's coming from, where they're going to be and when, or else you get yourself caught off guard. There's so many corners people can play around that I think that's when you can get bitten if you're not careful.
Like, what I don't understand about the way that teams still ban Maestro is Maestro now gets countered by arguably 2 operators. One of them has always seen a pick, and that is Thatcher. Thatcher is always being picked. Everybody loves Thatcher, solid operator, combos well with your Thermite if you're dealing with Kais or Bandits, anything like that. And then also Twitch. Teams didn't used to take a Twitch because they seen the utility factor of a Twitch drone not that impressive compared to other operators. She has the best gun in the game, the F2. Now she has utility to deal with such a big, strong operator in Maestro, which teams are still going to pick because, yes, the cameras are now weaker, but you still get that Alda, which arguably as well is one of the best defender-sided maps, or guns in the game. Especially for a map like Villa. It's great for those long angles. You can spray and pray whenever it goes into those final couple of seconds. So I do not agree with the Maestro ban. You are leaving an echo up.
It's a tough one because I can't even begin to think of how many plays I've seen where it comes down to a Maestro just spraying down a corridor with all those bullets in that mag that never seems to run out and finding themselves 2 or 3 kills, or even just doing enough to suppress and let the rest of the team rotate into position. So like you say, it's not just down to the gadget, it's everything else with it as well. Pi going to find a shot through the window, get the first down of this game onto Lackey. And Jackal not going to be too useful, but is probably going to have to back away a little bit more here as well. And I like how they're playing so aggressive here as well. You can see Prox playing below. They've got 3 members pushed up towards this north side, just trying to hold T3H back as best they can. Lucky won't die from it, so fortunate to get away alive on that one. but already just trying to keep T3H pinned away and not let them into the building too quickly.
T3H are a big fan of the Jackal. They really like that operator in a map like Villa, where we know that it has that roam presence with that basement. They have players on Who Knows who can go for the roam. Pi, we've already mentioned, is that big standout player, and they will be looking to play below. And, of course, you can see the big deadly operator that is going to really rely on Who Knows is Prox, but does not have a Nitro Cell.
I love all the intel they're playing around here as well. You've got these Echo drones above watching anyone trying to push through Statuary. You've also got the Pulse playing below, so no thumbs sat upside, inside Hunters is there waiting for someone just to push a little bit too deep and find themselves getting caught out. Of course, being sat there, he's behind a lot of reinforced walls as well in a pretty safe spot, but he'll be there more than anything else to notify them if anything does go on in terms potentially of like the Thermite starting to look towards getting in, getting that plant down and getting Hunters open, because suddenly the whole thing just opens up there. It's quite easy to do unless you've got any kind of intel on 90. As it stands with the Maestro, though, that's normally the default spot we see on the wall where Tank Ninjas is now. You'll put a camera there, you'll have that intel to play around. They don't need it. They're playing super defensive Who Knows here as well because they don't need to press too hard. They're just wasting time. We're already down to 60 seconds left, and T3H are only just starting to look towards the site.
They lose their Echo. That's Fums off the board. Keenan with a great peek. I'm surprised Fums is even in that position as an Echo. But here comes Pi. He will start his approach. He already finds that Jackal, who was already on such low HP, but does finish him off. Alfie, good position for a smoke. You have that SMG-11 you can flex on if you want to take those medium close range encounters, but then you also do have that shotgun to really blast them whenever things do get hairy. Pi, here he comes, that man that we always talk about. Finds another one for himself, but this means his presence is known, and Keenan is there ready. Great coverage, great refrag potential. Another one for Keenan. Free in this round for him, as the plant will start to come in from Tank. All down the Prox. Does not have the C4, of course, as he already wasted it earlier on inside of the round. So now it's up to him, but no. 4K, Keenan off the bat. Excellent.
Very solid start for T3H. Now, literally said 2 minutes into that round, Who Knows are the ones here who are taking this slow. They're not pushing, not going for any big trades, just keeping T3H guessing, making sure the drones are out, making sure they know where they are with all the intel they had from the Pulse and from the Echo. Obviously, ultimately, it means nothing if you can't actually win those resulting gunfights. Keenan sat on 4 kills after that round, as we saw. Very impressive stuff. Question is now, what do Who Knows change up? They've already tried this tack of slowing them down and forcing them to maybe panic in the final 60 seconds. But T3H, cool as ice. More than happy to close out that first round in quite convincing fashion.
So Who Knows will change up their selection in their bomb site. They already did have their AVG. Did not go to plan. I feel as if it kind of relied on, I think, the Echo in that scenario. I don't agree with where No Fums is playing. Sure, you can try and get aggressive. The MP5 SD still is a good gun. You have that ACOG attached. You can one-shot headshot people still, as that's the mechanics of Rainbow Six Siege. But I would like to have seen him being played in the back of bar, because that's where you could really start to utilize that, that ACOG at such a distance. Just little tiny things, errors, that is costing Who Knows simple rounds.
It's the errors, and also coming down to the fact that no matter which way you paint it, it doesn't matter how many gadgets you use, what strategy you employ, if you can't win those gunfights, then you're done. So hopefully the second round does improve. We are going to change which point we're playing on. No longer, of course, playing down south. Shout out to the Observer. General, the boy.
Do we need to?
Well, RR General.
No, nobody knows him as that. It's just Alex.
It is. It's Alex to us. But
it's always Alex. No, no, everybody I talk to. It's always, oh, Alex the Observer. That is his name, Alex the Observer.
That is true. No one calls him RR General.
No.
Not that they call you Demo.
Well, no, because you don't call me by my first name.
No,
I am
Demo. calls you Harry.
Yeah. No, don't say that.
I've got 2 people here on the desk with me that hate being called by their full names.
Yeah,
what am I going to do?
I don't mind it as much as
Observed by Alex. Thank you, guys.
No, you have to put Alex the Observer.
Alex the Observer.
Observed by Alex the Observer. They'll make it fit.
Our overlays aren't this sophisticated yet to fit all those characters on, okay?
Wow, Esports is really going backwards the turn.
Twitter tags are like limited to a certain number, as we all know.
Talking about Twitter, if you guys have any questions you want to do,
sake, guys,
there you go, Alex the Observer. Please make sure.
The technology is there.
If you guys want to ask me and Dez or Gio any questions at all, you can use hashtag ESL Prem and ask us a question, and maybe, hey, it'll be thrown up on stream for you.
Oh, if anyone remembers back in last season, we sat there at the half and basically went through a bunch of questions that everyone asked. Some serious, some not. By all means, fire away. We're always happy to hear. One thing Pi won't be happy to hear is the sound of those bullets whistling through his skull, as Oregon will bring him down for the first kill of this round. That mute being taken away, maybe not the most impactful, didn't have a chance to use the C4. That smoke and echo are still available. Legion, as we know, endlessly useful. Penguin finding the perfect angle onto Nothans. Maybe should rename himself to No Head in this case. Down to 5 versus 3 with 1 minute and 40 left on the clock. T3H in considerably more control than they were in the last round.
T3H are going to be going for a southwest take, which is a bit unusual, but I have a feeling they may be also trying to rotate around and still open up that triple wall. So it basically means anybody in A just gets suffocated. They cannot move. That wall will be opened up. Tank, risky as it is, he is playing by himself inside a bedroom, so if Prox goes for a big play, he could find Tank just all by his lonesome. So this is something that you have to worry from T3H. They still have somebody below, Nathan below, as he does have those impacts he can use to try and stop that Thermite charge. Tank will go in, but still, there we go. Nathan catches him by surprise. Such a simple thing that teams have done for Millennium since Villa came out, and Tank falls for it.
What hurts me the most is he stood there and stared at that hole as well, knowing that someone would be there. Prox going to find Penguin. Now into a 3 versus 2. We are drawing down to the final dying moments of this round, quite possibly. The push has got to come in from T3H though. They've got the numbers advantage. We already saw last round they can win out a number of these gunfights. It's now getting on site, getting the plant down, or just wiping out these final 2 members. But there is a dock here with the ACOG. Never a fun one to be facing down in the dying moments. And as of yet, no big push wanting to come. The drone has come in. They know exactly where he is. Going to push around this corner potentially here. Goes to the peak, and Lackey finds the head of Prox into a 3 versus 1. It's just Nathan left on this Legion. Diffuser will be in their hands, down on site very soon, no doubt. A nice angle from Nathan, but smoked out there will mean this default plant goes down. And this one is pretty much T3H's to lose and all for Nathan to win.
So, a post-plant defuse. Can Nathan pull off an unthinkable clutch? He's managed to find his way into the bomb site, but everybody from T3H has scattered. One of his goo mines will go off. It gives him intel that he knows another one, but no, Kanan holds the angle. Headshot onto Nathan. Well, T4H, another great execute. They have now 2 for 2 in terms of plants.
And they're winning all these gunfights time and time again. The one kill that went their way that round was Prox getting the kill through the wall with that little tiny bullet hole. And aside from that, it was a pretty dominant affair overall for T3H. So more to come. I think we've got to see who knows really wake up into going into this 3rd round now as well. You've had a couple of rounds. You know what the score is. You know that T3H are winning you out when it comes to these direct gunfights. What are you going to change? What's going to mix up here as well? What are we going to do differently? Same site once again. Potentially different strategy being employed this time round, or maybe just better execution of the last one.
I feel that they may be looking to go a lot more defensive. I think that they've kind of worked out that T4H are always going to try and execute. If I'm who knows in this scenario, I would honestly play for a retake. I would play really heavy below. I would try and go for those rotates, because at this stage, you should realize that T4H have no intention of bringing a Nomad. And Nomad, for me, is great in this map. We've talked about rotations. We've talked about that entire bottom floor where you can stay undetectable unless you are bringing operators like Jackal, and you have those staircases to rotate and roam about. So if you're seeing no Nomad, this should be straight away the call for Pi to just do his thing.
The one thing I think they don't need to worry about too much in that regard is that a lot of this upper floor is soft. You can breach it from below, so their actual need for a rotation isn't particularly great. And in neither of these last 2 rounds, who knows, have not gone for that play. Yes, they've played with the pulls downstairs in the 1st round, but that was about it. We've not seen any aggression coming out of them with those roams. So then they're thinking, yes, Nomad's great and all, but we feel there's a better pick that we can make use of here to go for these kind of pushes, looking towards things like the IQ, like the Zofia as well. It's all about aggression. That is the name of the game for them here.
I don't think Penguin is that Twitchstorm's going to get much utility. I really don't think so. There is stronger operators that you can use, but if he wants to play it for the gun,
that gun, man. You know,
it's about the gun. You know, I know what's why.
You know what fraggers are like.
I'm saying this even though I know exactly why he's doing this stuff. I'm like, oh, maybe I know exactly why he's doing it. It's simply because the F2 is that good. For T4H as well, they are bringing a much more heavy, I think, roamer hunter setup, where you're bringing the IQ to try and hunt for any vigils that could be scattered about, which again, Vigil, he's available, great operator. I think the K1A is probably my favorite defender-sided gun in the game. I think it's so strong. You're bringing that Jackal, you're using up a space to try and hunt for them. Even IQ trying to get rid of Echo drones that may be assisting roamers. They have went for the anti-roamer setup.
I really like this double C4 roam downstairs as well, with Pi and Prox playing together. The Pulse being the eyes, and the C4 available, of course, to both of them, but more towards the Mute, I'd imagine here. No contest downstairs. We know so far T3H have basically played on one floor. They've not bothered looking downstairs, trying to clear out. They're not even bothering trying to clear things out. They're just trying to play aggressive down here and waiting for that plant to go down. Very curious if they choose to just kind of concede and that this will be a bad one.
No, don't do it. You never do it here.
Please
you never
don't.
Go for it.
Just wait for the plant to maybe look to go down or an execute to come through, then you make your play.
Looks to be that we will see Twitch rotate below the C4.
Beautiful!
And that will be the end of Lucky. Jackal gone, and Penguin just misses it. Now everybody runs away, and Penguin sat there with his twiddling his thumbs, not knowing what to do. That's
definitely going to slow things down, because now they're aware that the one C4 is downstairs. They know there is a Mute on the side of them as well. They know he's not on site. They haven't thrown him out there. He's downstairs.
And there's no Thatcher. They can't open up the wall.
Yeah, I mean, Oregon, they're both looking downstairs as well. Oregon and Penguin off to either side, trying to pinch in on these roamers. This is the kind of time wasting I wanted to see out of Who Knows, and this time it's working wonders because they're actually winning out these gunfights. Nathan finding out Tank Ninjas does turn this down into a 5 versus 3 in the other way. Then Alfie's going to find one as well. 5 versus 2. Who Knows have cracked the code. They've figured it out. It comes down to that double C4 roaming duo with the Pulse. And suddenly Keen and Oregon, well, they're kind of out of options here. Bunched up together, they've got eyes on the side itself. Bit of a poor C4 coming out of Millie there, Pi. I'm sure we can forgive you. This one looks like it's pretty much in the bag unless there is a huge turnaround for the boys here.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to go any other way unless Kanan, who we know can surprise us. Certainly he has that Sophia. Don't know if he has any utility left, but hey, Nathan, he gets another one for himself. Oregon bites the dust. And that will be all Shiro. A flawless defense from Who Knows. The difference is that they knew what T3H were going to do, and they countered it. Counter-strategy.
They were just fully aware that in the last 2 rounds, T3H have played on one horizontal play, and they haven't looked to check downstairs. They haven't looked to take control there and enforce that roamers can't do their job. And you spoke about at the start of that round as well, that maybe the Nomad here to shut down that roam potential would be great. Who Knows don't care. They're not looking to play stairs. They're just saying, guys, we can stay downstairs. We've got double C4s to throw up here as well. Those Nitro cells doing enough work in that round to unsettle T3H. Finding 1 kill was enough for the rest of them to go, we can't keep pushing here, guys. We're walking straight into a trap. Let's back off, try and see what we can do. And by then, Who Knows had the confidence to push forwards, get themselves a couple of kills, and the round was done from there.
There's one thing that already I'm starting to see that I think we've seen it as well from last week, is that T3H on attack always brings the same lineup of attackers. I have a big feeling that may cause an issue in some of their later matches against more well-structured teams. Because if you're picking up the exact same 5 operators, sure, we see best team in the world at the moment, Team Empire. They do the exact same thing. Empire always bring the exact same operators. They do the exact same thing, yet it works. But they're Russian. These guys aren't Russian, so there's the difference.
They're not cyborgs, Demo. That's probably the best way to describe it. But you are right, and I'm curious when they choose to change things up, because for Who Knows, they've gone for exactly the same setup again. So, same lineup for both sides, different site, of course, still playing upstairs. I want to see if things are going to get mirrored. They're going to play here off towards the northeast side. Prox actually playing upstairs here, going for maybe a bit of a cheeky peek.
Yes, do it. You should do it.
Nothing to be found for now, just trying to be aware of who is where more than anything else, I feel. Will there be a drone in there? Yes, there will. Spotted out means, okay, it's time to rotate away. Now, when does he go downstairs? When does he choose to stay upstairs here? I think there's a great opportunity to get downstairs, because you know full well that's exactly what T3H are going to start looking for. So they don't want to get caught out like that again.
This is a risky strategy that Who Knows are trying to establish this entire match so far. And they are looking to play the aggressive game. They want to try and get that first blood, because against a team like T3H, who are very reliant on everybody staying alive for that final execute, which is typically what a lot of attacking teams do. You look at teams like Team Vitality. They rely on everybody being alive for those final 30 seconds. If you can get that first early pick, it really does start to slow down the momentum of a lot of these more strategy-based teams. And well, Prox, once again, he finds that first blood. And at this stage, Who Knows can just scar. They can just run away. They can let T3H take as much time in the world. Great stuff from Who Knows again.
I like how Prox played it quite safe as well. They didn't instantly start off downstairs and think, guys, let's go and play super aggressive to begin with. It's not a problem. No, they said, well, let's wait and see where they come from first, understand what they're trying to do, and then we can choose how we play. So more reactive to what the enemy team are bringing rather than trying to execute their own strategy. And while it started off with a kill exactly the same way as last round, now it's how they can turn the rest into a win. 90 seems to be the aim of the game so far for T3H. 3 of them pushing down this corridor. They'll be right as there are 2 inside of Hunting Room. One, of course, hanging off towards game itself. It's all about these angles. First 2 rounds is when T3H won these direct gunfights. But after the last round, it does feel like there's a bit of confidence being imbued back into Who Knows, but no thumbs. Well, once again, demonstrating his lack of thumbs. Going to miss those crucial shots. Will find himself going down, but not out just yet. Another spray coming back through from Prox. He also is incredibly low, so everything is starting to crumble a little bit, it feels, for Who Knows. The 2 members are essentially down and out, but it's what they can do to turn it round from here. 90, currently in the advantage of T3H. Prox will find Tank Ninjas as well. Lucky trades it back onto Nathan. Being surrounded on both sides so far, but it's still Who Knows finding the numbers.
I still do not agree with no thumbs in that position. He should never play that aggressive as your Echo. Get yourself in the back of bar with an ACOG. Come on, thumbs, you're better than this. Well, Prox and Alfie. Prox in such low HP, and that diffuser will try to be established, but of course Alfie can start to deny with those toxic babes. You can also see own smoke grenades coming in from Lackey. He has used all of them. Final toxic babe goes in, but here comes the plant. But Alfie, in the best position he can, you should know it's a default plant spot right beside the vault door. And yes, he does manage to find it down. And Prox can swing on in. Fabulous round from Who Knows. Great clutch. And well, Who Knows, they pull it back 2 rounds apiece.
I think this sets us up for a very exciting 5th round, because the first 2 rounds, Who Knows, weren't really sure how to adapt to T3H. The last 2 rounds, it's worked. But that last round was probably closer than they would have liked it to be. It wasn't quite the clean sweep that round 3 was. It did lose quite a few members out in that one. I think this is where T3H start to figure out what they need to be doing to correct things here as well. Whether or not they make a pick is the next question. Sledge is currently onside, so we'll be changing that one out. I can't imagine, of course, that Fuse is going to stay. Back over they go. Sledge once more on the field. The other side, Doc returns too, so no huge surprising changes coming through from either side here. Valkyrie going to be the one interesting pick we're going to see. So maybe here the expectation that T3H will be looking downstairs. They've been bitten by it a couple of rounds in a row now. Now let's try and see what else they can do when those black eyes are set up.
Yeah, I'm liking the Valkyrie. I think you look at a team such as M&M, who are very proficient on a map like Villa. That's Citizen's favorite operator, and it kind of shows the power of that operator whenever you're in the right hands. The intel that he can gather, the aggressive nature that he has then with the MPX, which sure, maybe not the strongest gun, certainly up there with the weaker SMGs, but still, one-shot headshot is the name of the game. And you have that C4. And again, the Deagle, still a very good secondary hand cannon if you need to.
Just about how you value it over the Pulse in this case. And like I said, maybe it comes down to the expectation that T3H will have his number, or at least have a good idea what's going on. But again, an intel-heavy setup coming out of Who Knows with that Echo, with the Valkyrie on side. It's a case of how they make use of it best. Now, we are, of course, changing up sites here as well. Downstairs, you said earlier on, we are seeing more teams starting to play down here. In this case, more out of lack of choice. We have done both of those upstairs sites now. They've won them both back-to-back, which means at least for this round, we will be changing things up. Now, T3H with a bit of a change in tack here are going to start upstairs. They are going to start on the floor where we're not going to see the sites being in play, which you can understand. Again, all soft flooring. There is so much scope you have to play upstairs. It's exactly why they bought the Sledge to the 4. I just want to make sure that they don't get themselves caught out by something like the Pulse this time. Well, not the Pulse, the Valkyrie in this case as well. I didn't see where those black eyes went down, but I imagine they'll be playing above the sites as well, because the expectation is there that T3H would be starting upstairs.
There's a lot of good positions you can get a Valkyrie cam in, but they do have the IQ to try and counter that potential Valkyrie. And I actually think at this stage, Oregon's trying to hunt for the Pulse, which, as we know, isn't being brought by Who Knows this time around. So I think that Oregon just staying on his toes as much as he can. And you can kind of see the combination. One looks for the Pulse scanner, one starts sledging. As soon as that Pulse scanner gets whipped out or he disappears, then all the cal comes out and then Keen just has to back off. But hey, that's your IQ gone. Alfie, pretty sure through the floorboards, finds one onto Oregon. And this is where I worry for T3H, because they're on the back foot. They've lost Oregon, who's a main entry. I don't really know where you go from here. This is a lot of pressure now on the T3H, and they have to try and execute with what they have left. And, well, they don't have a lot left. They have a minute 20.
I think what hurts me the most is the fact that T3H are playing so together, as silly as that sounds. They're constantly playing in a bit of a cluster. They're not really making use of that Jackal to go hunting for these roamers, those that are playing off-site. And that's what they're getting caught and punished by afterwards. In this case, it was a very hard find. You got someone shooting you through the floor. Not too much you can do about that. But the IQ off the board, like you say, does make it a bit harder. You're not going to find those Echo drones so easy. Some of those black eyes will probably still be in play and undetected. Smoke getting dropped out, though, by Tank Ninjas. That turns us into a 4 versus 4. So not quite the rollover maybe Who Knows we're coming to expect. And again, they've got the right idea. They're now downstairs. They're taking control of the upstairs first. They said, you know what, we are losing fights up there. Another great spray down coming from Tank Ninjas onto No Thumbs. Advantage to T3H for the first time now in quite a few rounds. It's just turning it into a round win, I feel, is the most important thing for them here. That smoke being on, the echo being on, does mean a lot of the plant denial is now off the cards. Now you got to worry about the ACOG and the Carbine, mind you, from that Jaeger and the Doc. That's always going to be the tough one. Trades coming through once again, still into a 3 versus 2 though.
But here comes the swing around. Lackey will find Pi, and you can also see that Penguin was there coming up the back stairs anyway, and here comes a diffuser being planted, but Prox goes to nuclear. Can he find one more? No, Lackey's there. So unfortunate, but Lackey holds his nerve. T4H, they take yet again another attack.
That's just completely ignoring that final remaining member there. The cover was potentially there. They were just watching completely different rooms, different angles, and ignored the key one where Prox was waiting. But that composure was there to bring him down and bring the round over to T3H. Quite crucial, because as we said at the start of that round, round number 5, where it's 2-2, the team's starting to figure each other out a bit more. We've now seen that swing back to the side of T3H. Now we've got to see what Who Knows are going to do. Going back upstairs into Trophy and Statuary. They've had some mild success upstairs. Downstairs, not quite been so successful so far, and as expected, that Pulse is brought back to the field once more. I can't imagine they swap away from the Thermite here. You need at least some form of hard breach, but no, Capitao being brought in. I like this, because to me, with the Jackal and the Capitao together, you have so much clear potential. The biggest concern is no hard breach.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about this.
I think earlier on, in round 3, I think it was, they were trying to breach, if you remember, and had no way of getting through the wall. And they were thinking, well...
Yeah, because they don't bring a Thatcher, which, again, is questionable.
They got the Twitch, and that's the best they've really got to bring here as well. Potentially the Twitch to find out where these gadgets are. I would like to see some aggressive plays downstairs and use that to get underneath. Get rid of the mute jammers or anything that's blocking you upstairs and then go for the plant afterwards. We're dropping it entirely. That to me just says we're not really aiming to do that here. We are going roamer hunting with these picks that we've got. That's our sole aim right now. Get this Pulse off the board and go for a win off the back of that.
Okay. Theoretically, they could make this push work with what they have. The only real insight that I could see that they could actually go for is if they take from bedroom, don't open up the triple wall, they then take control of Observatory, and then they push in through the bomb site from that stage with still leaving one guy over towards bedroom to cut off rotations. That's the only push I think I could see this working, is if they think they could just walk in through the A door or walk in through the B door, those are choke points, those are bottlenecks. You're not going to get through there whenever there's things like goo mines, whenever there's smokes, there's C4 still on the board. The only push I can see is literally from that Observatory. That's the only strong place I can see them work, since they do have the Capitao to get rid of anybody in behind that pesky desk area.
I think even relying on that is that's probably pretty clear to Who Knows as well. Knowing where they're going to be pushing from, what they'll be looking to do, you just watch that angle. You just sit and wait and watch. You stick an Echo drone over it, and suddenly, like you say, they're in the right pinch.
I don't know. I just feel as if you're going to try and push in where you can see the Echo drone being placed, it may as well just be the suicide lineup, because that's all you're asking for.
I mean, looking here as well, same sort of stories before. Pi, Prox, actually playing very defensive this time around. They're not playing aggressive. Last time they were playing underneath 90. They were watching upstairs, keeping an eye on where they were pushing from, and of course, caught Pi out a couple of times as well. Saying that, Prox now rotated across. They know what's going on. He has been hunted out this time round, so the Jackal tag is on. It's what they choose to do about it from here. Almost getting tagged out as well, so they are forcing him away. He's straight back onto the north side of the map here, playing much more defensively. They still have the support of Pi, but this time it's worked out. This is what I'm glad to see. Didn't even need the Capitao. Speaking of the Capitao, he goes down to Alfie. So they will not have that clear. That was the big reason why I thought they would bring this to the field.
To be fair, I can kind of see what T4H went for this time. So if you look at the kind of way that T4H played the last time they did Trophy, they still tried to go for that very slow execute team vitality mentality. But in this scenario, they've realized that Who Knows are now playing heavy from below to stop that, so they've counter-strat it. Their counter-strat, if that makes sense. So it's a bit more of mind games being played into it. And this time they're looking to go for the fight. They want to hunt the roamer, since they know they don't have to really worry about it. So they can play people like Tank just as free as he like. He doesn't have to be constricted by playing that Thermite. So I do agree with the way that things have kind of panned out. But for T4H, like I said, they're going to start rotating in towards the bedroom. But still, you need to take control of Observatory, or this push will fall flat on its face.
Maybe try and look for something here. The Oregon Alpha, you should not be missing shots like that, my dude. That was a free one. But very free plant potentially for Oregon coming in here as well. Pushing around, going aggressive in the wrong spot though. No one covering there with that plant. How can you ignore the entire north side of the map? That was T3H's to win, and they have thrown this away by not covering each other, turning it into a 3 versus 1, and this should be around for who knows.
Yeah, just what I kind of expected. You're trying to push in whenever you don't have angles being covered. You can try and argue, oh, but where the guy was planting, he could have been covered from the guy swinging in from Observatory. Doesn't matter if you still have Echo sitting in B with an ACOG. Literally everything about that T4H round just confuses me. I can understand, like, you can see where Twitch was. Twitch was there to try and cover where Nathan swung around. Because they didn't take Observatory, Nathan could sit in there, swing around, stop the planter, which is what he did. In that scenario, Twitch was in there to cover that angle on that doorway. But since they have good control of B, Echo can just sit in the back with an ACOG and pick him off. So the crossfires were stronger coming in from who knows when it was for T3H. And that's because they did not bring the Thermite. Yes, come back to that point. They didn't bring the Thermite. They could have made that push successful, but they need to take Observatory.
I'm not too sure, although we spoke about at the start about how we felt about the Nomad and the need to bring it. Again, we've not really seen, what am I on about? Side swap. Too distracted by our conversation, clearly. But who knows are bringing it. They're expecting the more aggressive roam-based play to come out of T3H. Although they've gone for a very similar style of setup as what Who Knows brought. They've dropped, in this case, the pulse for the Valkyrie, which is what we saw Who Knows do as well. I want to know if T3H are going to play into this one. Surely you see that Nomad and you think, this is not the time for us to play roam. Let's play downstairs, play with those C4s, and see what we can achieve. You're looking all towards the Valkyrie for this one, though.
T4H bringing pretty much the exact same defense that we've seen Who Knows. Who Knows much more different. They have brought about 3 different operators than what T4H did. They're bringing that Nomad to try and counter any late rotations in towards the stairs. They do bring the Thatcher, so in case a Bandit was picked up, or even a Kaid, which I'm quite surprised we didn't see, because Kaid I feel is very strong, especially for the quad wall. You can stop that Thermite tricking at a distance very easily, and they do bring that Ash.
I think the fact that there's the Thatcher on side, as soon as you see that, you just think, well, even if we're looking at Kaid now, it's a terrible pick. Maybe look to 6 pick it in.
They're looking to go for the wall.
Maybe look to 6 pick it in if that's what you're really trying to play around. But yeah, with the IQ on side, of course, did with the Echo, got the Thatcher and the Thermite on side too. It's a very safe, utility-based setup coming out of Who Knows here. Nothing screaming, we're going Roma hunting or anything too crazy. They've got a strat in mind, they want to execute it. It's on T3H to upset that with that Valkyrie intel.
And what I like about Who Knows, and I'm sure this is kind of how they're trying to play, their main goal is take control of Stade, open up the wall. That should be their first stage. That should be their beachhead being established. I like that they're bringing the Ash, because Ash can go below, and if there was a Bandit trying to Bandit trick, then that could have been dealt with. So I do like the setup that Who Knows are going for, but their first major task is dealing with Oregon on those stairs.
I do like how downstairs has been the first port of call for at least a couple of members. Going to find themselves trading things back and forth. Keenan finds himself 2, potentially turning it into 3, but no, Nathan is going to balance that one out. Almost got the down as well. There could have been 3 for him, but not quite to be the case. You can see where they're all lurking and hanging around as well, but Thumbs is going to find himself yet another one as well. Picking up that trusty old Thermite. Wants to try and get Prox back up as well here. Running through the smoke, I was going to say, not really the most ideal, but it does mean that member will be back up in double time. Into a 3 versus 2. You have the intel from the Valkyrie, you have the smoke to play around, but with 1.5 minutes to go, probably not going to be super effective now with those 2 canisters that are remaining.
I think this is pretty clutchable from T4H. The fact that Prox and No Thumbs are both in the range of 2 inhales of those toxic babes. So there's going to be a lot relying here on Nathan. I think if one pick goes in favor of Who Knows, I'm going to say a 1v3, then I kind of feel that they should have it. If it goes into a 2v2 here, then I can only see T4H taking the round from here. So they will start to try and open up that wall. Actually goes to the Thermite on the floor. Yeah. Even though there's nothing stopping you from just opening up the wall. Okay, they're trying to go for the very risky peek, I would say, because you can just be crouch peeked from here. Prox doesn't know someone's behind the bar, still has his stun grenades. But at the moment, for Who Knows, they're looking to try and push in towards that A-bomb site door, with Nathan still scattered about downstairs looking for anything he can.
It's just a very it's been a minute now. Nothing has really moved on either side. We've seen a bit of positioning taken up by Who Knows. Why would you run right in front of him like this? They're this late into the round as well, into a 1 versus 3. That last smoke grenade does come out, playing inside a Hunter. It's Tank all by himself, trying to withhold the assault. Does have some trusty intel from his teammates here, potentially to save. He got the shotgun out. So a bit of a long range there, Buddy, trying to hope for that one, but they know where it's coming from. Coming through the back door as well. 15 seconds remaining. Got to push in, but they spray through the wall. Prox will pick up Tank Ninjas, and Who Knows win their first attacking round.
So, who knows? That was a much more action-packed first half compared to kind of what we've seen from the T4H attacks, but that's expected. Who knows? They want to try and take those gunfights. They want to try and go for the anti-up. They want to try and go for the battle. But for T4H in that scenario, again, I question both Echo players for both teams because they seem to be the most aggressive players you could have asked. NoFoms died first time as an Echo, almost in, what, the second half, ready whenever the push is coming in. And again, I think for the Echo and T4H, being aggressive, and I just don't agree with that playstyle for Echoes, especially on Villa, where it relies so much on that plant denial.
When you have those angles like you keep on speaking about behind bar, seeing all the way through onto B side and through to the doorway, there's such a fantastic opportunity there to just keep that train down and give yourself such a huge advantage that neither team has really exploited that, like you keep on saying. But again, the big thing I noticed at the start of that round was who knows, downstairs, clearing out any roamers, looking for any nasty surprises. There were none to be found. T3H on both attack and defense so far have been a very horizontal team. They have not used the full breadth of this map, and you said it at the start yourself. There is a lot of opportunity downstairs that teams are really starting to discover. Yes, it's not downstairs inside the basement, but that vertical play is being used by who knows, and they're the ones reaping the rewards so far. But 1 or 2 rounds and we could be having a very different conversation.
What I don't want to see from T4H, I know we've talked about the attacks. The T4H attacks, the lineup of operators, it's very predictable. You never want to be predictable in this game. You always need to change with the times. If I see T4H set up the exact same way as what they did last time, I once again worry for them, because that is where they're going to be caught out. It looks to be the same stuff. They have Organ playing on stairs. I feel as if this time, though, they are rotating Lackey into a better position where he can utilize those downstairs areas. So if we do see Lackey go below and try and go for that room game, then yes, I think this will be well. But at the moment, just looks like a carbon copy.
Straight back upstairs once again. Makes you wonder at what point we see some change. I mean, Oregon's downstairs here playing right by those stairs. It's almost like being too afraid to push too deep in this sense as well. Not wanting to go for the who knows style of playing deep and trying to find some surprises. But you can see again, understandably, who knows, are stacking up downstairs, making sure they've got full control of that, taking control of the downstairs and using that to assault onto the upstairs. But kills being traded once again. This feels like a cut and paste of last round. Same place, same time. Members dying fighting over these stairs. Now into a 4 versus 3. Again, it's the use of potentially the intel and the utility that we're just not seeing coming out of T3H. They're going for these gunfights a little too aggressively.
It's literally the exact same round. They tried the whole stairs, it failed. The man advantage goes on who knows.
T-Therm might see the floor again.
I don't know.
I think that was on a wall.
Alex, please, if you can.
I love you.
Yes, he did the wall.
Yeah, every single time.
Oh no, he did the floor thing.
Yeah. He likes that one.
It's difficult to deal with because it does give you a direct line of sight straight into anybody who wants to try and play behind that A-bomb. See if you have a nice head glitch behind the A-bomb, shuts down that A door entirely. So I do agree with that. And they still have one more that they can use if they need it, but I don't really think that they do. And Nathan, just so much utility. This is what a good IQ player looks like.
It's making sure there's no nasty surprises waiting for them more than anything else, I like to think. It has slowed down now. Yes. I mean, this is what we saw in the last round for who knows as well. We've seen 1.5 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. Everything kind of ground to a halt, but you can see that Tank Ninjas is pinned here as well. Lackey watching through the long angle as well. That could have been the big nasty surprise for them, but no kill's going to get traded back across just yet. Alfie is watching this doorway like a hawk. He's daring someone to rotate out Hunter or Lackey to push through this door to the right-hand side. Control feels like it's theirs. More and more defensive positions being taken by T3H, and the drones are in as well from Alfie. Now gone. Everything's pretty blind.
Nathan maybe looking to edge up. And
this feels very familiar.
How you missed that? No! Why, Nathan? Why? Lackey takes advantage of double for Lackey. This has been terrible for who knows. That was it. That was the play that at the moment is looking as if it's lost who knows the round. Pine such low HP. He's in bomb site. No bombs thoughts down the tank who's still in there, but no, nothing comes off of Lackey. A free K. Nathan, what went wrong?
Lackey went right for T3H is probably the best way to describe it. That was a fight they should have won time and time again, though. Alfie being one was watching that door the whole time. Nathan pushing stairs. I'm not being funny, dude, but we can't always use those Wind Bastion skins as an excuse here, dude. You saw on the stairs, clear as day in front of you, that should have been a free kill. That should have been a huge area of control suddenly coming through that who knows could have pushed on to win. And really, they've only got themselves to blame for throwing away the final few seconds of that round.
I'm a broken man. I can't do this anymore. I can't do this.
I thought I was the old man, but you're the one sat down. You're the one who looks like you're having a midlife crisis. I'm near that age, not you. You're still young.
I just, you know, it's Prem. It's Prem. I have to remember, it's Prem.
It's UK Siege.
Yeah, it's a UK Siege. But at the moment, it is very back and forth, very even. And typically for a map like Villa, you expect this to be granted to both teams. They did go three rounds apiece in that first opening half, which I know we've seen Villa be played the last time between Exillium and M&M. M&M did win 5 attacks in that, but M&M against Exillium, we know how that turns out. But I'm just looking back through my notes. The last time I see Villa in my notes that I casted was M&M versus Ghostskilla back in the Challenger League. And it did end up in a draw where both teams took the split 4-2-4-2 in favor of defense. So at the moment, they have broken the kind of cycle that we're used to where defense have much more of a percentage favor going into those 6 defensive-sided rounds.
50-50 is still one of those ones where it's a coin toss between which way the round goes. And again, that last round felt like a bit of a coin flip as well. So, hey, we'll see how this round plays out. Who knows? I imagine going to play for their standard style of first we assault downstairs, we clear that one, sorry, upstairs in this case, clear that out. Same sort of style as what we saw from T3H when they played into this point. It wasn't so clear-cut last time round because they did lose a couple of early members, especially when trying to push right towards the north side here, through the bathroom in towards Astronomy. Now it's a case of making sure they have all 5 left alive. That sledge being brought, it's almost a copy-paste of what we saw come out when T3H did this attack.
Yeah, sledge is just the norm, I think, for this one. Sure, you can bring Buck, but the flooring on Villa is a little bit different, a little bit shaky compared to nearly every other map. It's where you have these big wooden beams come across your screen, so you don't have a clear-cut line of sight. If you play Villa and you start trying to open up some of these angles with a sledge, like you see the big beams there along the roof, those make it very difficult to actually have any vision going in as a sledge or a Buck player, so it is very difficult. So always keep that in mind if you are playing Villa. Trying to use that destructibility isn't the greatest if you're in terms of you're a Buck or a sledge player.
Also against the Buck as well, because of course shotgun going through the floor can be quite nice sometimes. Harder if there are beams in the way. There's of course ways to play around it, but in this case sledge being the option of choice. Of course got those frags as well that you bring to the table, trying to find potentially a couple of kills going through. Although so far been very calm and composed. Smoke the only one really looking particularly no right now. Tank Ninjas that is. But still being alive does mean those smoke canisters can be used. It's been about a minute 20, minute 40 into this round so far, and a lot of the work has been done on the upstairs, getting a few holes open, giving themselves sight lines, but no real push coming through. But this seems to be a common theme coming out of Who Knows. Between a minute and a half and 30 seconds remaining, it's very quiet. It's preparation time for them, almost a late second stage preparation. Then they go for the final push in that closing 30 seconds.
Still have Pi upstairs, looking for something. If he gets a pick, that could really revitalize Who Knows and give them a little bit of an oomph going into this final minute. But it will be T3H who strikes first, and they will drop the first kill going on to Pi. Well, Who Knows now on the back foot of things. And I feel for Who Knows that they kind of don't know what they're doing at the moment. They're a little bit scattered around. I would have liked to see that wall being opened up already, but NoFum's actually by himself. Very risky playing a Thermite inside a laundry where anybody could just swing around and take you out just like that. And Nathan still fooling about upstairs, even going to get Toxic Babe from the floor. For Who Knows, this is going to be difficult. They're all trying to push in, coming in from that kitchen side, and Proxy has managed to find his way in along with Alfie, so bomb site control is in their favor, but we are going to be looking for the retake come in. Diffuser has been planted, so now the pressure is on to T3H. Tank on low HP, so a 2-bullet should be able to finish him, and Nathan's still playing the angles upstairs. This is looking great. So Who Knows, just holding angles, and one will fall. Another one hopefully for Prox, yes! 3 off the board for T3H, it's down to Oregon. What can he do? He's upstairs. He will find Nathan if he keeps on this journey. Looking to find anything he can, but time is slowly starting to tick down. I don't even think if he does get 1 kill for his troubles, I think time has slowly slipped away out of his grasp. And well, Who Knows? They have the diffuser, they have the timer, they even have 3 people watching that diffuser at once. And Alfie finishes things off. Who Knows? Somehow they made it work.
Excuse the pun, but I genuinely... Who knows how that round went? Because that turned into chaos from about, I don't know, 2 minutes 59 seconds remaining. Everything just seemed super weird. Who Knows almost spending a bit too much time looking for angles through the floor, waiting for someone to run across their line of sight to go for a kill. No kill came, and they were like, what do we do now? Where do we go next? And T3H, equally, you have 4 men left alive, and you let them freely stroll onto the point and plant without even taking a gunfight. Both sides there just seemed lost.
I know that you say you don't, like, who knows what happened that round. I have a pretty good idea, I think. I'm pretty sure that because we've seen the sledge come in, we've seen also the breaching charges from IQ, they opened up the entirety of that one bomb site. So basically it pushed everybody either in towards that tarps or out towards the corridors, which meant only smoke was left inside a kitchen. So if you look at it right now, that A-bomb, entirely destructible from above. So everybody was out of that room. Nobody could play in there. That left just the lonely smoke inside a kitchen by his lonesome. Everybody else had to get out of bomb site. All it took was one kill to come in favor of Who Knows. They kill the guy inside the B. 2 people are in it now. They have control. Diffuser gets planted because, again, like we know, nobody can play an A. They tried to play for the retake, and it just was a massacre. It was just the gunfights being won, so it literally came down to the destructibility factor, which we always talk about on Villa. It's so huge. If you look, Alex, just take us up one floor. You look at that, I'm pretty sure there's like 2 sections of the entire top floor that is not destructible. Which is, I'm pretty sure, the walk-in closet in that little area there. Everything else on that entire top floor, destructible.
I love this camera work, by the way.
I like him because he listens. That's what I like about him. He's good at that job.
He's an attentive boy. He does a good job.
He's great.
You are right in terms of having it open, but I still don't buy that even with things like an echo on side, that you cannot have any kind of interruption and potential push from there. We saw nothing
Nathan on the IQ above can get rid of those echotrons because it's destructible.
That is very true. So it looked like chaos, but it was big brain in the end.
It was. I think, I say big brain, I think it was just, oh, let's swing and see what happens kind of mentality. If I know who knows that is.
45 seconds where nothing really
we'll
happened.
We'll give them the benefit of the doubt. We'll give them it. We'll say they're 2,000 IQ geniuses. Okay?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do that. We here in the UK scene are smart. Right?
Sure.
We'll buy it. Well, same site being played once again. Let's see how this one plays out. It's the same style sort of setup once again. You've still got Nathan playing upstairs here, just trying to find where those gadgets are, where the cameras are lurking, where the potential interruption can come in. This time around, I'm curious. This is an interesting style of setup there, trying to go for a spray through the floor. Not quite going to work out for them, but the intent was there, and that's what counts. It's about sending a message rather than always securing those kills.
It just means that Lackey has to be aware that someone is looking for him. I think it's very risky for Lackey just as soon as he starts to get shot, pulls it out again. So it's quite a risky play, but somehow it's worked out for him and he hasn't been killed yet. But knowing who knows, they're probably going to do the same thing this time, but they have learned from their mistakes. Pi this time actually opens up with the first kill, whereas last time he was the first to be killed onto. So Sledge been alive, along with the frag range, which they did not have last time. Pi, he died while still having 2 frag range. That wasn't the best play from him. And Nathan will punish Lackey. And another one for him as well. Nathan on the IQ has been exceptional this matchup. And here comes the Nomad onto that double door. So any retake from Oregon trying to push in through that door to stop the plant in B, that will be denied. Penguin does get 1 kill back, but at the moment you can see it starting to stir for Who Knows in towards that kitchen, just like they did last time.
Oregon being so patient here, but they're crouching underneath his vision line, it feels like, here as well. 2 in the room next to him on B site. Proc's going to find himself 1 as well, turning this into a 4 versus 1. He saw the one to the left as well, but is going to turn away, find himself in a 1 versus 3. Flash to the high heavens with 25 HP remaining. Prox will secure that one, and we go to match point for Who Knows.
Yeah, that was just a better adaptation from what we seen last time. So I think it does kind of give us that little bit of security where what Who Knows did last time, that was kind of what they had in plan, where they bring Pi upstairs and they try and really pressure anybody inside the kitchen coming in from those back stairs, which is very underutilized. We don't really see those back pantry stairs being used a whole too often. But like we've talked about, that downstairs is incredible in what you can do with rotations.
It's been a quiet one for a few members of T3H, admittedly. And you said at the start you wanted to see Oregon step up. 7 and 9, the level of step up you were expecting or requesting, should we say?
I would expect double figures at this stage from him. But
when you're 10 rounds in.
But at the moment, personally, I always seen him as Ashe main. I'm putting quotation marks up Ashe main. But they didn't really play him on Ashe too much on the attacks. Defense, I think he's not a lot better, but on the attacks, still, I think you stick him on the Ashe, let him do what he does, and he'll give you just rewards.
Let him run riot. Yeah. And this time, unlike him seeing the Capitale, earlier on, it wasn't exactly useful. It got picked off pretty early in the round without achieving much. So I want to see how they choose to employ it. They know they're playing upstairs as well, so not chose to bring them really to go too Roma Huntery downstairs. They've not gone for anything like the Jackal. They've not gone for anything that can really assault that. They've gone instead for more of that zone denial with the Capitao on side.
I just really hope I don't see an exact replica of what we've seen the past 2 times. If I do, then I really don't know where 2-3H goes from here, because I feel as if they're going to get steamrolled like last time and the time before. Another thing as well, which I forgot to mention as well, for the last AVG defense, which is Aviator Games Room, which is kind of what we refer to as AVG, whenever we seen you on that floor, that little angle one that's very unique, we don't see it used all too often, that angle is specifically designed to then put pressure on anybody inside of A-bomb. So, for example, Smoke was an A-bomb. He was chilling behind the bar, could not be seen from that angle. And then quite smartly, we seen Who Knows open up that A-wall right beside the doorway, which means Smoke then has to leave that bar. But nobody was watching that angle to give a free kill. So that may be something as well. Just, I'm nitpicking here, but just something for Who Knows to remember is if you're going to use an angle that's a very strong one in what you're trying to accomplish, make sure you use it.
Use it effectively. We've seen it a couple of times where playing inside study, we've seen a couple of angles opened up with No Thumb's infamous Thatcher. Thermite on the floor, getting it open, looking in towards bar itself, pinning someone down behind A. There was no huge push in half the time as well to clear them out. A couple of times we did see a 90 push down this hallway, which worked out in favor for them. Now, as you've seen, Prox has unfortunately disconnected this round, but Who Knows want to end it here. And now Alfie and Pi finding themselves a couple of kills, now into a 4 versus 3. So the disconnect never even happened. Capitao yet really to have to use any of that utility. And I've got to say, Nathan on this IQ has been doing so much work in the utility cleaning. Hasn't gone aggressive, hasn't gone for glory or greed. Has just consistently been making sure that there is very little utility for T3H to play around to potentially deny their entry.
Yeah, so 2 early kills comes in, even with that disconnect happening. I'm happy to see Who Knows have changed up their strategy as well. Just shows that they're more than a one-way team. So they will be going for that north side push coming in towards that vault, and they have got that wall open. No Bandit or no Kide being chosen at all this match. Quite surprising there was no denial of Thermite charges, especially whenever you know there's only one hard breacher and neither team's brought a Bandit or a Kide. Interesting.
I like how the response to this wall being opened up was, let's immediately get that open and make sure we can see what's going on. They know they can't push through, Pi taking the sensible choice, because if you recall back on the attacking half of T3H when they were trying to push through bedroom, well, they walked straight over a huge hole in the floor, and quite rightly so, were gunned down pretty quickly. Here comes this push down hallway now, looking to go behind this bar as well, trying to get the fire in there to burn him out of his hidey hole. Knows that he's there now as well, going to actually win the gunfight, looking in towards Volt as well. Going to find attacked out by Oregon, who's pushing down from the south, playing aggressively towards the smoke, still finding himself one, running us into a 3 versus 3 with 15 seconds remaining on the clock. It's all hands on deck, pushing down this hallway right now, but can they find their way in? All the walls are open, everything's here available for Who Knows to win this one out, but they've got to stick the plant here. It's into a 1 versus 2. They know where he is. Literally the God save opportunity. Pistol comes out. Not yet found him, but manages to kill him on the plant. How do you let him walk through like that for free? T3H hang on by the skin of their teeth, and we go again, boys.
Oh my. That was unexpected.
A little bit.
He just ran at him. And Mike,
playing ring around the roses with him there as well.
That should never happen.
Just there's no world where you should be able to push up hallway like that for free, walk through the door, walk up to the guy planting the bomb, and put him down when someone is watching that angle.
To be fair, there should be no way that Penguin should have survived that Capitao bolt as well, because I was very surprised. Because as soon as I seen that asphyxiating bolt be fired into that backup bar, remember, Capitao got that massive buff to his area of effect. It's really strong, I must say. It's really, really strong in so many scenarios. And he should have been dead, and he just wasn't, so I question that. I really expected just Penguin to be, oh, you've been firebolted, you're dead. But he literally took like 20 HP as well, which I'm shocked by.
Well, it was an unfortunate disconnect with Prox, and I imagine if he was there and that final fight was a 3 versus 1, there was probably little to no chance that
they still should never have lost that, even if he was there.
It was a winning situation for sure, and that's a couple of rounds now in this game actually where Who Knows have thrown away what should have been a guaranteed win. If T3H take this round and end this as a draw, Who Knows probably shouldn't feel cheated, but should feel like they have thrown away a great opportunity here to take their first win. Of course, last week being that excellent 6-6 draw against Team Secret. This is their opportunity to pull themselves ahead and say, we are a team who's competing for one of those top spots here. We want to go to LAN when it comes to finals. It's a far way away just yet. Probably a good couple of months, but still, in a spot where they can do it. But they've got to not make those mistakes. Consistency is always the biggest downfall, I feel, of any team that's kind of sat at that mid-level looking to get towards the top.
But this is the first trophy statuary defense we've seen from T4H, though, in this half. So we'll have to see what they have up their sleeves.
And it's been a long half as well.
This could be the old trick they're trying to pull, is play all these other bomb sites whenever it comes to the final one, then pick the one that they have no idea what you're going to do. Because still remember, for both of these teams, there's not a lot of intel either team can do research for, especially a map like Villa. No way.
I think it shows a lot in the first 4 rounds that they went 2 to CTH, 2 to who knows. They were both still kind of figuring each other out. And it really was only towards the end of the first half that both teams started to get that feel for each other, what operators they were looking towards, how they were playing, things like that. And as we've seen and said multiple times, T3H are a very horizontal team, not really using the full verticality of the map. Who knows, very, very different. A couple of rounds ago when I was sitting there saying, well, we have no idea what happened in this round, as you pointed out, it was all vertical play, getting the whole of the ceiling open to very little contest from T3H that ultimately pulled it over in their favor.
T3H playing 4 people off-site. A question, but it worked out for them nonetheless. Lackey picks up the first kill on the Prox, but has took a substantial amount of damage, so he is down to low HP, around that 20 HP mark, but has got himself back on bomb site. And if who knows are smart enough here, they will go for that observatory push. They will use that capital that we've talked about. If you want to get somebody rid of that desk, just fire a flame bolt in and it should be him dead enough. Nathan, he will find Penguin, so that is Echo off the board. What is with these Echo players?
I don't think
this.
I have yet heard or seen a particularly impactful Echo player as it stands so far. Right bolt's placed down there as well, straight in behind that bar as well. Oh, the tank finds a fantastic shot onto Alfie, turning this into a 4 versus 3. Yes, they've held upon sight. How on earth he survived this bolt, I do not know, but they're going to find Nathan as well. Who knows, in a 2 versus 4 situation, again, owning themselves to blame for a couple of these rounds. Another Capital Fireball is going to come out, descend to the ground, coat him in fire and force him out from Astronomy. But all the work is here to do for Pi and No Thumbs. Did a great job himself getting this wall open. He really likes those full thermites, those wall thermites, floor thermites, all the way around.
If anybody's going to be able to clutch this round, it will be Pi. He has been one of the most consistent top players in the entirety of the Premiership. No Thumbs down to 20 HP as well. The pressure is mounting on Pi, and well, Oregon's there to find it, and it will end in a draw. Tank get the last kill. And my oh my, that, what a match. I've never seen so many, I want to say, throws in the Prem in quite a while. That
last round you could kind of contest as good play by T3H, like you say, saving 1 point till the end. But there were 2 rounds there that they should not have lost.
Still, the Nathan, whenever he didn't see Valkyrie, still...
That haunts me, and we'll probably haunt him for the next few days.
I mean, one of the crazy things is that even though it's a draw, it was a 3-3, 3-3 draw. So, like, on the attack, they each got 3 rounds. So it's not even like there was like a definitive advantage to either side.
It was
50-50.
I feel really the creativity in that more went over to Who Knows, again, based on the vertical play alone. T3H, I'm surprised that they knew the other floor existed when they were playing on one of them, because they was never seeming to roam. The only time we ever really saw it come into effect was in that final round, with the Pulse actually playing on top floor, scanning downstairs, expecting that roam coming out of Who Knows. That was one of the first times, I think, as well, and Prox probably rightly so was justifying why they didn't do it for the whole game. They never really used other stairs to rotate. They only really played around the main site stairs. Otherwise, it was playing downstairs, staying downstairs, making use of the Pulse and the scans.
I think for both teams, there's a lot to look at. I would highly advise any members of both teams to really go hard into yourself. I think if you can really critique what you guys did wrong, because there was, I think, from both teams, a lot of questionable plays, just from my understanding anyway. I don't know if anybody else agrees with that. But there is just little errors. I think come back, some of the first rounds where Echo was getting picked off so early on, not playing Echo in the right position. Prox was very unlucky with this one because that would have been an incredible clutch.
This one.
And this was it. That was the moment for me which kind of, I think, sway the tide of battle into both sides. Kitchen is a big talking point, I think, for both teams. We did see Kitchen being played twice by T4H in their defense, and they lost it twice. So that is definitely a bomb site which I think they need to remake. And coming back to it as well, for T4H, my understanding is you guys are too predictable.
Predictable in some ways, yeah. I mean, you know that they're not going to move beyond the floor again where the point is, but beyond that, picks didn't really change too much. You're right on that front, I think, saying as well. Like, we saw a little bit of variation under who knows when it came to things like Paul swapping out for Valkyrie a couple of times, but aside from that, both teams kind of had their strategy in mind, I think, and both played to it. The only real round where we saw a bit of variation was that kitchen assault coming out of who knows, where it was a, let's open up the whole top floor and see what happens.
Now remember, of course, you can vote for the player of the game on Twitter, on social media, and see who you think was going to be the best player. But oh, no, I was just waiting to see if it was going to come up with
something new. No,
you can go to it. No.
player of the match. I mean, it's demo clearly.
Your player of the match, would you say?
My player. Oh. I would have loved to have said Nathan for his IQ play, because I actually think he was
I would have given it to Nathan, but that play, no.
That's the problem. There were a couple of plays that really dropped it, I think, so I don't know, actually. It's quite a hard one to call. I think he was the standout player for much of it, except for those couple of mistakes. If you forgive the mistakes, definitely Nathan, though, because his IQ was fantastic.
I thought Prox as well is up there.
He had a couple of rounds getting 2 or 3.
Keenan
in the early rounds,
on the attack was
in
really
the early
strong.
rounds, he was fantastic. Yeah, it's a tough choice.
You know, at the very least, like, both of these teams have something really valuable to Volbert view from, like, moving forward in the rest of the season.
And we did say as well, Villa's one of those maps that a lot of teams are still kind of trying to figure out, and you can see
I was expecting, I'd love to see this. I really did love to see this map. I thought both teams.
Oh, I love Villa.
I love this. This was a great match to watch, so I have to commend both teams and how they played Villa. And there's still things to learn on, and maybe if we're sitting here 4 weeks later and we're seeing Villa being played by both teams in the same week, then we can come back and say, hey, this is where it began, and hey, they really have improved.
Well, that was certainly some way to kick off the day. Now we're going to throw to a short break, but we will be back afterwards for Exillium versus Wind and Rain.
Think she can't get a last-second clutch? Watch this. Think he can't carry his team while streaming in high resolution? All the while recording a once-in-a-lifetime win? Watch this. Think leveling up only happens in-game? Watch this. On Intel Core i7, they'll rise to every challenge. Now it's your turn. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7.
everybody, welcome back to ESL Premiership. We are about to move into our second game. We've already had one draw today, so we're going to be moving into the next game, seeing if we get a similar result or something a little bit more
You spelled your name wrong. That's...
You're really going to do this?
Yeah, I'm going to do this.
You're going to do this?
That should say Georgia, but you don't like that.
No, there's a reason for that. All right, then.
Apparently I was the adult planted between these two to keep them apart, but you can't do it.
So, Derry, since you're the only caster who's going to be on this broadcast today,
Okay,
let's talk about Exillium
Yeah,
versus
sure,
Wind
yeah.
and Rain.
This will be a great game, actually. I'm really excited about
you
this
know
one.
what? I bet you are.
It
Must be really hard knowing you're going to be solo casting it, though.
I know,
I can't
mate,
imagine the pressure. Oh, this is better. This is what I was waiting
Hey,
for.
mate,
Now
in for
we
a penny.
match.
In for a
you
penny.
know,
Let
with
me
the
just
red and the
bump across a
black
bit,
and.
Hi. Welcome back to the desk, mate. Welcome back, mate.
We'll
you
get
are
his
wanted
microphone
here. We're not that keen to get you on a plane back home, I promise.
I doubt that, but you know.
I like you, mate. It's all right. We had a good call at the start of the broadcast.
I just want Lethal back, but we all can't have things we want.
You get me next week, mate. How about that? That'd be a fun one. Hope you're ready.
All right, so Exillium,
Yes.
Wind and Rain. What are we thinking? Here are the rosters up on here. Of course, we've got on the side of Exillium, Sathers, who I believe went by Tristan
Yes.
before. PX.
Okay. So we do have two new changes coming into both lineups. We have PX, who has just turned 18, is now
Happy
on
birthday.
Exillium. So PX was, I think for a long time, well, I know him because he goes all the way back from Xbox days as well. But PX was always known as this young gunner kind of class, and a lot of people think this guy can be the difference for Exillium.
Okay.
I've yet to see him in any real competitive format, so this will be his big test. I'm still, come on, Jack, do this, Jack. Just don't let me down. He apologized to me for his week 1 performance. He apologized to me, and I'm like,
Wow.
why? Why are you apologizing? Go do your thing, because I know he's a great player.
But he's new to the competitive scene,
is,
right?
yeah.
Don't be apologizing.
That did, yeah, touched
You're
the
the
heart a
one
little
in
bit.
Prem, not this guy.
I don't know where to look anymore.
Could have been.
But you're not, so.
Yeah, but someone has to carry
look,
this desk.
I
so.
won't lie. I remember he actually had a fantastic performance on Bank with Valkyrie, and he did get some very good run-out
I
kills.
won that map.
I was very impressed.
Take
Beautiful.
those.
What a
And it
touching
pained
story.
me to see Demo playing
take
so well,
those.
but he did play well, so I'll give him that much.
Yes, with the demise.
But hopefully there is some good play today. I mean, as well, speaking about Exillium, they are kind of the remnants of Flylo from last season as well. Didn't do so well last season, but this time round, different story. And hopefully after last week as well, it's kind of a, look, the hard game is out the way. Now we can really show what it is that we're made of. It was the only game last week that was pretty one-sided. Again, against M&M, you kind of come to expect that.
Yep.
But
It happens.
you're against Pat. My boy Pat. And I'm excited to see how he plays today as well. So again, this should be another really good game kind of coming to the fore.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at the Wind and Rain roster. It's up on your screen right now. Demi, you look ready to say something.
Isn't he
Yep.
always?
So we have Harris, Vex, Blackout, and Tyrant, as we know. Their stand-in was Reese from Demise. But now they also have a guy who's just turned 18 as well. They have Kayak. They have my boy Jord coming in. And honestly, this is the guy I kind of pin my hopes and dreams on this team.
Okay.
I'm really gonna put the pressure on him. I think that this guy can be the difference. I looked at their scrim reports. I've looked at some of their scores, and this guy's been putting up more figures than Tyrant has, and Tyrant is kind of supposed to be that top fragger.
Well, see, last week, though, Vex came out with 13 kills, Tyrant came out with 11, and that was against, well, let's call ex-Vex in this case as well. He came up against Pengu. No other player in the world I think anyone would... Well, it depends what you want.
I
Do
think
you
we're
want the
used
glory?
to Pengu and Prem, to be honest.
Do you want the glory of saying I'm going to kill Pengu, or is it a case of saying, oh God, we're against Pengu, one of the best players in the world? It's quite a terrifying prospect.
Didn't
but
show
they
that
still,
though, did he?
Not really, no. These things happen. But they did drop to, double digits against him as well, which is always nice coming up against a player like that for your confidence, I think, if nothing else.
Yeah.
So coming into this week, they want to keep that streak going as well. Vex especially wants to keep himself up there, so I'm really excited to see how these guys play too.
And Demo, one of the things that you mentioned in week 1 was the fact that you felt like Wind and Rain were kind of cracking under the pressure a little bit. Do you think that maybe this will be able to help them kind of come back from that and be a little bit more confident, not necessarily have that issue?
Well, I thought last week there was exceptional play from Wind and Rain, and then there was very lackluster play. There was no in between. It was either, oh, so good, or, oh, so bad. There was nothing really else you could say, but I think the pressure of you're playing with a stand and you're not with your main five. They've been scrimming with Kayak for the past 3 months, ever since the last Prem finals finished. Whenever Speeds left that team, Kayak was straight into that team straight away. So I think this will be the game changer. And just looking at some of the matches coming up for Wind and Rain, they have a pretty, I would say for their caliber, a pretty easy start, but then they have Team Secret M&M in the late game, so they do have to then really start racking up the points now, because we know M&M and Team Secret are always going to be the big fish in the very little pond that is Prem.
Well, don't forget, of course, you can go over to Twitter to be voting for your players of the match. Of course, we've already had one game today. This is going to be the second one, so don't forget to go and get your votes in. But
and
guys,
drop us questions. We
of
need
course,
questions.
you can ask questions. It's just a big old AMA.
AMA, why is demo bad? No one knows the answer to that one, sorry.
Ouch.
Yeah, because it's not true. Not bad.
Don't know about that, mate.
Don't know who you're talking about,
You're pushing the boat out there.
Mr. Silver.
Hey, mate, what can I say? Busy studying the game rather than playing it. You keep on playing, mate. I'll keep on studying. That's all I'm going to say.
Could do both.
If you want.
Could do both.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, man. Well, as we go into kind of looking at what map's going to be, what maps do you think you would like to see come out for this series?
I like to make more chaotic ones, I think. I mean, we've already said today that we're not expecting top-tier strategical play where there are no mistakes being made and it literally comes down to narrow margins between these teams. I'd say go have a good gunfest. Let's get to Oregon and just see another big scrap come out.
I could see Console on the board. I think that both teams will play that. I think both teams can play that map exceptionally well. Or I could see that as a ban from Exillium.
I would happily see something like Bank come out, but I don't think we're going to see that.
No, we will not be seeing Bank. I'm pretty sure we will not be seeing that.
I like Bank because it just gives you the opportunity where it's such a huge map as well. You can see a lot of rotations coming through.
Or Club.
If you are a
I think
fragger,
Club could also be one.
It works beautifully for it, but I think we'll probably see it taken away.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, it is going to be Consulate.
Good call.
Price to demo.
Oregon insta-ban by
I'm always right about that. I'm always right. No,
Please.
No, but for Wind and Rain, you never want to play a team who is, I want to say, not strat heavy. I think it kind of comes back to that Epsilon kind of play style where you don't want to be playing a team who can do all these crazy jump outs, and especially whenever there's no Claymores currently in the game, a map like Oregon is risky business, and who knows, they'll just ban Nomad for all they want, just go ham.
I would have liked a real gunfest, but when what you're saying there about Wind and Rain, this is not so much an easy run of games for them, but games they're probably expecting to win. You remove the wild card, like I said earlier on, where strats go to die, as you always say. Oregon being off the board does remove that. Would have been fun to see, but at least they're playing this quite sensibly and thinking about it. The same with Bank as well. Don't want that roam heavy map coming into effect. Don't want to get any surprises. Just play the straight and narrow and play almost the expected style, the way that they want to play.
I worry, though, for Wind and Rain, even though, yes, Consulate is their map, and I think that it kind of plays into their playstyle. There's no Claymores, and Consulate has so many different runouts. There is so many windows that you can just jump out. I think we've seen it kind of from Team Secret last week with some of those jump outs that they were jumping out double window and console off and stuff that doesn't happen. It just means that Nomad has to always be picked. She was already always picked, but now it just reinforces it even more. And personally, because there's no Claymores, I think Exillium could snatch it here. They really could.
Oh, that's pretty exciting. Well, I mean, I guess all that's left to do is to see what operators are going to be banned, what operators are going to be picked as we head on into the game.
Gonna be Nomad, surely.
Surely,
if you're Exillium here, you get rid of Nomad. 100%. And you just say, we don't want any of this risk, we don't want to be shut down for our aggressive plays, because like you said, as a team that feels like the air quotes underdog, you want to go for that aggressive style.
But at the same time, Wind and Rain also have a Tyrant, so there's a guy himself who can just run out and do whatever he wants as well. For bans, I'm kind of expecting, your Glaz, Blackbeard would be one, I think that we could see. I think Glaz is still just strong. Glaz is always going to be strong in that basement, even the mid floor. What can you do to stop that thing?
True, once it's open, it's pretty hard from behind the car to get, well, anything done.
Yeah, it's just then the way Capitao
but
as
it
well.
Feels like
Capitao could be a ban.
Yeah, I think I'd rather ban the Blackbeard away than looking towards something like the Glaz, purely because the Glaz is slightly more limited in terms of what sites he's super useful on, whereas the Blackbeard, as we all know, so many windows in play, is useful pretty much everywhere. But her banner being gone, I think, is going to be not so much a ban to the Glaz, but it definitely makes me weak and knowing that you can't get those cheeky little poke holes.
That's not a good ban.
Her might go.
There we go, Blackbeard, yeah.
Okay,
but Habana isn't a good ban on Consulate because especially for the top floor, you don't really need a hard breach. And for the basement, you're always going to bring a Thermite anyway, just in case they are basement. Hibana's not good for basement. But I question why we're seeing Hibana banned whenever there's other operators there, such as Yings. Dokkaebi being available for Wind and Rain. That's a big surprise for me.
Possibly, although would she be a staple pick throughout the whole game? Probably not. Towards the Hibana point again, I think a lot of that more is around the Glaz. Like I said, rather than outright banning Glaz, you ban the Hibana, so you can't just get these cheeky little window holes open which the Glaz can then play through with smoke. So it's not so much directly banning him out, but it does remove a hard breach from, of course, one side. You're forced to play with the Thermite, like we saw in the last game. That shall then go to hard breach, which, of course, if you lose, well, you're in a bit of a rough spot.
But hey, maybe Wind and Rain, they know something that we do not. That's always what we have to keep in mind.
Time will tell. So, let's see what the first lineup is going to be. Capitao is the starting one for Pat. Big fan of that operator at the minute as well. Love to see what it can do. Just a case of someone using it super effectively. We saw it come more to use towards the end of Villa on that last map, but not throughout most of it. Want to see it with a bit of a heavier impact early on. Although straight away looking towards what they're bringing here, it looks more than anything else like Exillium were expecting to go downstairs for the start of this map. And I think they baited them a bit here as well, looking at seeing that Bandit now changing over to the Pulse. This feels like Wind and Rain are kind of mind-gaming them a little bit here as well.
I get what you mean, but I think for the Exillium lineup, those operators are going to be universally great for any bomb site. And especially on a map like Consulate, where, honestly, I think all 4 bomb sites are viable. Of course, for the defense, in terms of the split bomb site, Clash is still banned, just automatically out of the game. So Clash has always been, I think, a big pinnacle operator to really carry the defense for that bomb site. But I think overall, it's still a good bomb site that you can really utilize too. I remember I played against a strategy specifically for split bomb site, was where the entire team was downstairs inside a server, which is one of the bomb sites, and then the other one is that little teller's loan office. All 5 of them were downstairs in server. Nobody was in Teller's office. We were like, oh, look, nobody's in Teller's. Go for the quick plant. We jumped in, and they had 5 shotguns below with a pulse.
That's quite
impressive. You could not plant in that bomb site. We all died to it. Excellent. And I was sitting there thinking, oh my.
This is genius.
And I've been trying it, and it doesn't work for me. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure those guys were French.
Demo,
so
there is a very simple explanation for why it doesn't work for you. It's because you're bad.
No, because Jack...
This is why you're a caster and not a player.
It's because Jack was in that stack with me, you see, and Jack was there.
Did they kick you from the team because you couldn't execute that strat?
I've had a lot of ups and downs this season with ranked. It hasn't been fun.
Reasonable.
Yes, Jack! Let's go!
What's his name? His real name?
Jack.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's not Ben.
No,
it's not like Citizen.
No.
I know his real name, by the way.
Leave Jack out of this. Jack, for me, I really want to see this guy just double digits. If this guy gets double digits, oh my, I'll be ecstatic.
If he gets double digits is the big kind of question behind it, but off to a good start in round 1 with a single kill. Just give Exillium the smallest of advantages, the smallest of margins right now, and this first minute is very much so turned into a let's get ourselves inside yellow stairs and make sure we at least have a point of ingress into the rest of the map. Now you see Turret lurking around downstairs. We spoke earlier on about this pulse and how you can essentially scan through both floors. You're very safe downstairs. It's unlikely you'll get rotated on, because if you are going to get rotated on, you'll know exactly where from. More often than not, it's going to be down those yellow stairs, through the garage itself, and start threatening you whilst you're down there. Otherwise, well, you're free to just provide intel all day, and you can see that's exactly what Wind and Rain are playing for here. Just trying to keep the threat enough that they can't push up these yellow stairs, which is going to force them to take an alternative approach. Now you can see where Vex is sat off towards the south as well. He's watching that double window, or the 2 windows, not quite a double window. It's that just inside of the site itself. And there we go, already. Tyrant not having to make too much use of the scanner itself, but it's more just about that vision line straight onto yellow. I don't know why Wind and Rain is still so committed. Not Wind and Rain, sorry, Exillium is still so committed to pushing on yellow stairs. They're being shut down at every single opportunity.
This setup from Wind and Rain is very, I think, Team Secret-like. You know, the setup looks exactly the same in what we've seen from Team Secret last week against Who Knows. But it has came crashing down already as they've lost both Harris and Kayak just from a single person on a repel. So it's down to Vex, down to Tyrant, and Tyrant still has C4, I believe he still does, but he is back in bomb sites. So we can't really utilize this as there is still people below him, so good play from Exillium, realizing that there's a pulse below. We have the man advantage. Let's use one of those men to put on the flank watch, which is the correct play. And again, I think if he rotates up Spiral here, Tristan, he could make things work. And Pat, well, he will find Vex, and this is almost done unless Tyrant can pull out the magic. They will find Pat, but Diffuser goes down from Jack. As he is stuck instead of a 1 versus 3. Angles being held. This should be an easy finish off from the Sophia. As Tyrant just edging his way, everybody backs off, holding angles. As Jack does see him, calls them out, they know where he is, and the swing around comes in. Predictable round, a predictable finish for Exillium, and well, Wind and Rain, they lose the first round.
Starting out an awful lot like the first round of the last map, where who knows, for a good minute and a half, 2 minutes, managed to hold back the attackers, but when it actually came to the execute, the attackers, Exillium in this case, just far more prepared and willing to push forwards and make it happen. The only kills coming across the Wind and Rain from Tyrant himself on that pulse, and most of those, well, one of them at the very least, as we saw on the screen itself, was that shots down on towards Yellow Stairs when no one knew he was actually playing on that angle. So, very much so a gunfight-centric round for Exillium, not worrying too much about being delayed and stalled because they knew they had the capability to close it out in the end. Now for Wind and Rain, it's going to be a case of what I'm looking for is them responding, understanding what it is that Exillium are trying to do, and not just saying, well, we'll hold them back and hope for the best. Now it's a case of actually shutting them down, holding those angles, and getting the gunfights in your favor. That's a pretty decisive vote.
That's expected though. Like that is expected. You know, you're looking at Exillium, who statistically came into this league as the bottom team, the team who just narrowly scraped in as seed number 8 against Wind and Rain, who did finish 3rd/4th in the live finals, who I think have really grown as a team over the past comings.
Do you think it's fair to say that maybe not so much unexpected or underestimated, but for Exillium, they're probably the one team that we haven't seen the best out of yet, because you've come up against M&M last week. We said it a few times already. Yes, Mr. Alex the Obs. There's so many different terms we can give to this guy. But for Exillium, they come up against M&M last week, sorry. No team is really going to get a chance to show their true colours, show their strengths, when you're playing against the strongest team in the Premiership at the moment.
Yeah, I said this during the week 1. It was like, yes, we know they've lost. They look really, really weak. But it's only early days. They haven't came across another team that isn't on the same caliber of M&M. If you look at M&M, honestly, I think they're miles ahead even of Secret. I think they are so ahead of the competition, they're so ahead of the game, and even, you know, going into the Pro League next season for M&M, I think they could do really well with possibly a top 4 finish in their hands.
They've been a team very much so on the up, and after that 2-0 final over Secret at Prem Finals last season, that kind of just showed you that trajectory that they were going on towards.
It has been underdog story, pardon the pun, which of course is the title of our documentary, which you guys can go ahead and watch on the Ubisoft UK YouTube channel. You can watch that documentary, which, what, 15 minutes long?
It's good, man.
Good 15-minute watch.
Nice little story.
You're in it.
I'm in it, you're in it.
I'm in it.
That's why he's plugging it, he's being a shill.
No. Hey, if you had told me 8 months ago, the team which I had qualified in Prem with in Season 2, along with Nello, and you told me that 8 months later they would be in Pro League, are you crazy?
I know you basically sued them and said you need to exclude the part where you said we had to drop demo because he was holding us back.
They never said that. I left.
I mean, they did say they just had to cut it.
Man, if I wasn't here, where would you be?
I don't know, mate. Good question.
You know, yeah,
Not
that's the way
casting with
everything
you anymore.
happens. Everything happens. You can go back to Quad Tank.
Everything happens for a reason.
So you can.
There you go.
You
I was
can go
waiting
back
for that
to,
reference to come out.
to
It's
OW.
back. There we go. I was wondering when I get that reference today, and there it is, ladies and gents.
Not a lot's happened though just this round. I think it's just
It's been
very slow. I think it's more of them trying to figure out where Tyrant has, but Tyrant being very pesky at the moment. And they are going to utilize that buck from PX, so I'm liking the utility. You're bringing the buck for a reason. Buck's versatile and constantly always has been. You can open up, of course, if it's a basement, great, so much destructibility. You can open up from above. Vex is going to start getting pressured as he will try and win the gunfight. No! Allison Tyler falls, but the refry comes in from PX. But still, Vex has traded off the Ash and has done a little bit of damage. And there's a refrag straight away from Tyrant coming up through Spiral. Great synergy from Vex and Tyrant alike as it comes down to 30 seconds. And he still has his Nitro Cell.
We've seen just how impactful in both maps so far today, how strong the Pulse is being. Of course, he's not really particularly strong if he's dead. Pat on the Capital picking that one up. Still has all of his utility, and we have 20 seconds left to go. Last round, Exillium in pushed even in the final few seconds. But with 15 seconds to go, I feel you're keeping it a little bit tight here, guys. Final smoke canister is going to come out. Runs up the stairs, shotgun to the face. Down goes Satis, and Kayak will pick that one up. It's a 1 versus 3, and this time round, it feels like Exillium have left it just a little bit too late to pull this one back. back. Kayak finds the 2 shotgun kills to close this one out. And we'll find ourselves in a 1-1 situation. So same idea from Wind and Rain. Keep it nice and slow, keep them guessing. But this time around, they managed to draw it out just long enough to secure the round.
Well, Kayak steps up onto the smoke. So there has been, you know, looking back to last season, there has been change up of operators. Previously, it used to be the smoke player on Wind and Rain was Blackout. Now he's been shifted to the Maestro. And I know that I said in week 1 that he thinks that the Alda is one of the worst guns in the game, which is blasphemy, as we know. And then he came back to me and said this week, you know what, it's actually a pretty good gun. So I proved them wrong, as always.
As always. Now, interesting change up coming through for Wind and Rain here. Heading downstairs, they said, right, drop the Jaeger. One of the most popular operators in the game. We're bringing the Kai instead, which to me just screams, we want to get all this reinforced up downstairs. We want to make sure that we are as safe as possible from the assault that might come through. Now, they are playing into a Jackal. This is the biggest change this round I think that Exillium could have made, because you know that Tyrant is giving them an absolute headache. Yes, in the first round, it wasn't round winning. Yes, he still found them 2 kills. And in that last round, was enough of a thorn in their side, getting the trades back and forth, that it really paid off for them. So I want to see more use out of it on Pat. In the last map for Lackey, didn't really see that Jackal used all too much. Now is the best time to use it. Shut down that pulse, remove the wild card factor from Wind and Rain, then Exillium can go for the kind of execute that we saw back in round 1 that looked so decisive in those dying 60 seconds.
Yeah, that's what they've went for with that play. They're deciding to bring the Jackal to deal with these roamers, which, again, like you said, have been causing a lot of issues. I think for Wind and Rain, if I'm Wind and Rain, I should at this stage realize, hold on a minute, they're bringing Buck for a reason. They're always going to bring that Buck. So that means they're always going to try and opt for the old open up everything inside the piano and kill you from above. So for Wind and Rain, if they can have a roam game which doesn't put them at much of a riskier exposed position, like you don't want to be caught out upstairs whenever they have a Jackal. You want to be playing those stairs, which I'm liking from Veg straight away. If you do get pinged, you're straight back down. 2 seconds rotation, you're up and down, up and down. No issues. You still have Tyrant right beside you who still can gain intel. Even though none of that is destructible inside a circle desk, it still gives you that intel that we always talk about with the Pulse. That's why I think Pulse is arguably the strongest defender on this entire map. And I'm loving the utility that Wind and Rain are using with that. I'm surprised Exillium even let that through.
It's a concerning one, but not something that maybe they're too concerned about given how the last couple of rounds have gone. First one obviously more favourable, but it's just like on the last one, like we said. It took 4 rounds to really warm into it for teams to get that understanding of each other. And Vex, that's the kind of angle when you hold, you should know what you're shooting at, buddy. No shots to come through at least immediately to bring them down. And you can see this hole coming up. This is very similar to what we saw last time round. 2 C4s playing together, playing with that pulse scanner just to wait and see if anyone dares go for the big push. Now, we are going to see that opened up inside the toilets. They have that angle looking downstairs. It's like you said, opening up, you can see a couple of holes going through in piano. In fact, quite a lot of holes in there as well, just making sure they can get rid of those gadgets on the door. The garage door, that is as well, being able to see everyone else downstairs looking for those vision lines. Thank you very much, Mr. Alex, the Observer. Giving them some capability and control and above. I want to know when the push comes in. They're down to 1 minute and 10 left. We saw them panic in the last round in the final 30 seconds, and it cost them. They need to execute like they did back in the first round at about the 60 to 50 second mark.
What I'm saying is that nobody from Wind and Rain wants to contest. So straight away I'm thinking, okay, they're playing for the retake. They're going to try and opt to, as soon as that diffuser gets planted, all 3 of them rush up from Spiral, kill the guy who's above, and then try and go for the frag. It's a very difficult retake. As we know, Garage is one of the most difficult ones to go for. Harris tries his luck with the sniper shotgun, but does not come to anything with it. As that was Tristan upstairs with the Thatcher, as PX as well. He's still working, he still has that skeleton key, but from above. Death from above, Vex drops down, but straight away into the clutches of Pan. He may be dropping the back catches. It'd be great if he manages to find one, because he can catch anybody who may be lurking inside of A or inside of office. But I think they have a suspicion. Blackout tries to spray in, as Pat was thinking about going for it, but just holds it back, and he will find one. Can he find another? As the diffuser being planted by Jack. This is great from Exillium, but no, Tyrant comes out of nowhere, stops the diffuser, 2 versus 2. Allison Tyler tries as well, but Tyrant free kills for him. Incredible. Oh my, Tyrant, take a bow, my son.
Well, you want to know where his name comes from? It's from plays like that. Getting those 3 gun downs in the very end. Everything was going so well for Exillium, but they ignored one small detail. The name being Tyrant. That's all you need to secure a round. And honestly, everything looked so sensible to begin with, getting themselves into the doors, making sure they had upstairs control. Everything was slow and controlled. They didn't lose any members in a terrible way. But then all you need is just one guy to come up behind you in a horrible spot, gun you all down, and the whole plan falls to tatters. It's like we always say with Siege, literally a bullet to the head can change around like that. And that's exactly what we saw.
All it takes is you not seeing a Valkyrie on the stairs.
Exactly.
That's all it takes.
You miss that sort of thing, and well, it's one angle you ignore. That's how punishing the game can be and how resilient you have to be as attackers. You're going for this strategy, not so much a complex one, but you've got to get every detail right.
Yeah, that's where the best teams in the world excel, because if they see their enemy slip up once, one mistake, one crack in the entire system, they will capitalize.
Boom. Or as Gio would put it, fist to hand.
Yeah,
a whole
pow.
smack, yeah. Boom, whichever way it goes.
We'll keep that. I think that's a new Prem thing.
Is it a new thing, is it? Okay.
It's a bit like, haven't done the old Siege time in a while.
I haven't, no. That's always safe for special occasions.
I haven't done that in a while.
You need to ask Dad if you can do
I don't know, am I starting to kill it a little bit? With the old Siege time?
Like I say, special occasions, and we're good. I'm cool with it. At least once a season it has to happen. Yeah. But it has to be on a special occasion.
Because it happened at the finals last time.
I need to get you a gong so you can smash the gong and just go at Siege time.
We'll up the ante. We'll try and get things prepped. We'll make it better. Make it bigger, make it better.
Let's
That's
get
what we're all
creative.
here at Prem. We will. We'll get a nice storyboard written up. We'll get a nice board of directors going. All the shebang.
Let's get a clock. That's a great idea. Oh, good heavens, saw your meme of about a week ago.
Yeah,
oh, good heavens, look at the time. It's Siege time, it's fantastic. Yep. But what it is time for is to see if Exillium can catch themselves round number 4. Wind and Rain 2 rounds in a row now. Admittedly, the last one more by surprise than anything else, have managed to get themselves ahead in their defensive path to date. Now, Exillium has started out straight upstairs, as you'd expect, taking control of admin, pushing across from there. We are, of course, in the lobby and piano point. And already we're seeing kills traded back and forth, but at least we're seeing the trade happen, which I think is the important thing to note there. It's not just a blind catch that's going one way, it is a trade back and forth. Most worryingly, maybe not so much for this point, but the hard breach is the first one to go down. That means those hatches that have been reinforced of no use to you. Saying that, they're already open, so who cares?
Yeah, that's especially for this bomb site, that's not an issue. It's your Thermite. Like I said, Thermite is only good on one bomb site, a consulate, and that is the basement. That's it. That's the only reason why you bring it.
Otherwise, things like this. Keeping them out of these narrow doorways, not giving them control of the upstairs and letting them charge through. Wind and Rain saying, we don't want you to have this upstairs control. We know what happens when you give over this upstairs control. That ceiling gets opened up from above. Piano is exposed. There is no way you can afford to hold it. And what concerns me here is already with 2 canisters down with 1:25 left on the clock, Exillium are forcing utility out of Wind and Rain nice and early.
Tyrant should go below. There's an area right below the server stairs where you can C4 anybody right up close that A door. Well, upstairs A door in that scenario, the briefing room. But he does find 1 kill for his troubles, but straight away is going to be traded out. But look at the Thatcher, Tristan, such low HP. Has breaching charges, of course, because the Claymore's going to be null and void for him at the moment, since it is out of the game. And we haven't really been seeing that utilized all too often, well, yet so far in the game. Maybe whenever we start to see Exillium on the defense, and that may be a different story, but as it goes, we will see the upstairs starting to get a little bit of destructible action, but none so far, as will be crucial enough to really put a bullet or put a dent in this entire Wind and Rain defense. Well, quite a sticky situation at the moment for Exillium.
You are seeing a lot of teams today making good use of those breaching charges to get floors opened up. More so than I feel like we would normally see on most maps. But it's still a case of how you turn that into round victories. Alison Tyler's trying his very best to get around this corner and drop that pesky...
Is Tristan downstairs?
He's still holding in. Like, it doesn't matter how often he peeks, he's not going to get this win because Blackout is staring that one down. There we go, the kill comes across. Now into a 2-1 situation, and Wind and Rain will take number 4, taking us to 3-1. Yes. I like this. There you go, mate.
Right.
Let's not say a word.
We'll leave that for now.
We'll wait. I mean, it should be hung that way, to be fair, but we'll take it. We'll show you guys what we're speaking about when it comes to the end of the game. We won't say a word. It's
I'm
written
not saying
word.
anything.
Don't say a word. It's written word. You don't have to say anything, Demo. Trust me. It's fine. So Nomad finally being picked up.
Yeah, Nomad comes out to play.
I like it because what has been the consistent thorn in their side, we mentioned it back in round 2, I mentioned it last round as well, it's been Tyrant. Every single time playing on that spiral staircase, giving them an absolute headache. Now, we are going back upstairs. As we've seen before, he played downstairs in basement, rotated up and got a free kill down onto yellow stairs, down that main corridor. If they can just drop one of those Nomad charges at the top of the spiral staircase on the bottom side, He runs upstairs, gets knocked down. That is a free kill coming across to Exillium, and we've already seen what happens when they deal with that pulse early on. There's nothing left really for Wind and Rain in the tank that is left playing defensive. That's when we've seen Exillium go for the push and be able to close things out from there. Admittedly, he still found 2 kills back in that round, but closing him out was the go-to winning situation for them. So trying to control him, I feel, is probably the factor they're looking towards here.
Exillium's still hard on the old Thermite. I don't understand, whenever you know a team cannot go Garage, why you would still bring the Thermite. Because we've seen time and time again, yes, Thermite can be used. I'm sure people are probably saying, oh, but Thermite can be used on the single wall in yellow. Thermite can be used if you Thermite open long desk. All of those positions to Thermite are so risky. Like, you're out in the open, you have no cover unless you have cover of a smoke grenade, and even then you'd also have to have a glass covering long desk. There's really no, I think, safe way to open up any of the walls. But you don't need to. You can just play windows. You can play yellow stairs. Why would you not bring then potentially a Capital instead of Thermite? Get rid of anything that may be lurking on the yellow stairs, which has been Kayak, who's been playing it very well at the moment. I'm sure he will start to play it again. Like I said, comes back into it. I can see the kind of comparison between Wind and Rain and how Team Secret kind of play.
Always around this yellow stair focus as well, understandably so. Because back in round 1, Exillium wasted a good minute and a half trying to fight through this. It did eventually manage to get their way through and force Wind and Rain away. But it's still a lesson being learned. Now, you can actually see the pulse playing off a little bit, probably unexpectedly here, playing instead inside of V, or around VZ, not actually looking to push too deeply and he'll go downstairs and play down the bottom of those stairs. Quite rightly so, because you can see where Pat and Alice and Tyler are lurking. They're probably aware that this is the angle he'll be looking towards, and they're making sure they're not exposed to this one. Kayak, not entirely sure why you're looking to press this way here.
Excellent.
There's no reason to push downstairs, but they ignored it for a second because Kayak came downstairs. He may have been down, but he was the perfect bait.
What are you doing? How's Blackout died? Has he just peeked and he just got gunned by Jack? Probably. And that doesn't matter because it's into a 2 versus 4. This looks to be the way that the first round went in for Exillium. And there goes the Nomad, but nobody there to capitalize on it. But Jack is in the bomb site with a minute to go as well. Tyrant left upstairs. Great wall bang. Diffuser still being planted. C4 gets swung on. That should be a dead Thermite. Yes, it will be. So it's a 2 versus 2. This is clutchable, but PX, a great battle. But Vex there with a refrag, a 1 versus 1. No Claymores. Keep this in mind. So we could see the Hail Mary jump out with time enough for Vex to go for the rotate. The pressure is going to be on the Thatcher. All Tristan has to do is wait it out. Will we see the bait come in from Vex? He will start to go for the counter defuse. Is Tristan going to be there to react enough? Comes off the defuse. Here comes the jump line, but Tristan's ready for it. Great play, great smartness from Tristan. I honestly think there was still a Nomad on that yellow stairs anyway, so if he tried to go for that play, running out of that doorway, would have been dead anyway as well.
Wouldn't have been too good, but that's a weird round for Wind and Rain, where back in the first round, yes, they probably played a bit too defensively, never pushed and got themselves picked off that way. In that round, we saw 2 members, both Kayak and Blackout, playing quite aggressively on their operators and getting picked off and losing those gunfights. When you're in such a spot on stairs where you can afford to use the gadgets, you can use the intel to hold them at bay, why would you try and go for those gunfights? There's no reason to risk that, because as soon as those 2 died, they had nothing left at the top of those stairs. Everything crumbled, they got on site, got the plant down, had 1 outside on window. What more do you do from there? They're pretty much done, and that was a big mistake from them that has given Exillium that second round. That could have been 4-1 potentially if they played that a bit smarter, I felt, and played a bit more defensively.
Seems to be as soon as that yellow stairs crumbles, everybody from Wind and Rain crumbles.
Admittedly, Tyrant did a really good job of rotating up, playing out wide, going through admin, back into A, and then looking in towards B. He found himself 2 kills that way, and a great C4. A few seconds earlier, that could have been a plant denial altogether, and suddenly, well, it's a very different conversation. But you can't be relying on the Pulse to be the only one that's doing work for you.
Personally, I would have loved to have seen some pressure being really applied in towards that piano. You know, try and draw the attention away from Kayak. Try and put all of the attention onto Vex, onto Tyrant. Let them take the gunfights. Don't put pressure on your smoke, because, again, your smoke, in most defenses, has always been, you know, at linchpin. It always has been that crucial element. As soon as it goes, the grenade gets set loose, and there you go.
I think the problem there was that Pat was actually sat next to the vending machine watching through into pianos. Anyone who dared try and rotate through there was instantly staring down the barrel of his gun. It would have been a pretty quick and painful affair for those going down. So maybe that's why they chose to stay away from it. But I think you're right. You're literally relying on Yellow stairs not crumbling. Otherwise, you have no angles, there's no crossfire setup. It was a bit of a shallow defense overall.
You don't even have to fish for kills. Literally just pre-fire and shoot some bullets down the corridor. You don't even have to challenge it. Just make it so the attackers have to feel uncomfortable.
Well, let's see how things can change up a bit here. But always in the same spots as well. Blackout playing here inside, connected between the points. You've got Vex playing at the bottom of Spiral Stairs. We saw him get that nice long range down onto Yellow Stairs last time round, but a bit of a different tap being employed so far by Exillium. Everyone currently is outside, not bothering to actually push inside and go for the threat. It's just Pat downstairs, currently holding that angle once again by Vending. By the looks of it, he's watching down through Piano as well, in case there is a bit of a rotate coming through from Wind and Rain.
What I would love actually to see from Kai, just looking at it, his body language and what I'm saying, as soon as his anything get rid of, as soon as that barbed wire, he hears one tick of barbed wire get hit, I could see him just rushing down with the shotgun, try and play that aggressiveness.
That's what he tried last time, though, and they lost that fight. That was the problem.
No, but I would like to see it along with that pressure and Piano. That's the thing. You combine both of them, it means that PX is looking, or Pat, whoever's playing the buck, is looking behind them, and then, oh, Smokes just walked out and killed him.
Tyrant in a really precarious position right now. Probably wants to get out of there soon. Pat's got his back covered. Someone's watching out towards stairs, and that was not the space to be. That drop was really ill-timed and probably not absolutely essential. But Piano is theirs. They've got 3 men sat inside, pushing towards Yellow once again. It's the same story. It's like you say for Secret. It's the war of Yellow Stairs time and time again. And Exillium are the ones who are now starting to come up with the superior tactics, starting to take it over and pushing forwards.
Kayak should just go for it. I would just love, because how many times have we seen a Smoke just walk down and get 2 kills?
It feels like so risky, though, when you're in a spot where you've got 3 smoke canisters. If you've got no smoke canisters left, sure, go for the Hail Mary. When you've got utility to delay, don't rush it.
Vex caught out by the flank-watching Ash. She may be looking to push up in towards the yellow, but again, still Kayak alive and well. He doesn't have to worry about any frag grenades either, as that buck has been killed. That's the main issue they have up at Yellow Stairs. As soon as you get rid of those ADSs, oh, frag grenade comes up, you're dead. Harris, no!
What are you doing?
Terrible position to be in. Alison Tyler will punish you for that. Or Joshua Glitch, is he more known.
This is good.
Alias.
This is better from Kayak now, because he's waiting and using those smoke canisters, not one after the other immediately. Gets the catch, though, the rush comes round. Will he get the shotgun? Back around the corner once again. All you got to do is get 1 bullet, my friend. It's not going to happen. PX finds that one. Down to the last man on Wind and Rain. The patience for Exillium paying off in spades. They win that round, 4 men left alive, and bring the score even, 3-3 at the half.
As soon as that Nomad was brought out, we've seen Exillium do really well, which kind of shows the strength of that operator. The fact that you can deny the flanks from so many aggressive players, because you look at it, I think everybody, bar Blackout, could really play aggressive whenever they need to. Just turn on the ignition. We kind of seen Harris tried to do that. It's just that area of that hatch, it's like the worst feeling ever whenever you know that guy's just seen you, and it's the most easiest pre-fire spot in the world. Unfortunate, but still, Exillium fighting back against Wind and Rain. Wind and Rain, a team which I fought personally, and I still think they can do really well inside of the upcoming Challenger League qualifiers and potentially try and push on in.
It's going to be an interesting one to see, of course, with Eminem receiving all the buzz last time round. Well, now there's some different...
Yes, Wind and Rain, I think, could
there's
really
some,
be their
some different heroes to rise, absolutely. Now, Tyrant has been the name that's been on lips for most of that last half as well. That last round, a mistake dropping down there in the middle of 2 to 3 members, admittedly. But
I wouldn't say so, because the position that he was in, he had the hatch above. Nobody was helping him. He dropped down, because if you look at Circle Desk, if you want to kill a guy on Circle Desk, you have to walk in towards that Circle Desk area to jump over and kill him. All you needed was somebody on the hatch. Nobody was there. That's the issue that I have with that.
He was alone very much so off that side of the map, as we said multiple times. The
support.
only one playing towards admin. Yeah, but then equally, if you know you haven't got that support, why are you playing? I mean, he was pretty safe upstairs.
Like, that hatch can cover both the double door and also the antechamber door as well. Both angles that he was getting pressured on could have been covered from somebody up there.
Well, the thing is, Blackout was in the room just to his left there, and they connected between sides.
But blame Blackout. We like that one. That's good.
He was holding the angle, though, watching towards Yellow Stairs to make sure Kayak had support. And again, I'm not too sure on the drop. If nothing else, I'd rather have played towards stairs and looked to threaten down that, because that's where they found the most success. And yes, Vex held that angle coming in from Visa, looking straight across into Yellow Stairs again. They had the right angles, just a little bit of miscommunication. A missed time drop was what really cost them that pressure that has been so strong for them in the first half.
So once again, the battle for Yellow Stairs seems to be taking place already. Smoke is not going to be playing that position. Instead, it will be PX with the Legion. He has to be careful, because I don't see any ADSs there beside him.
A very distant defense as well. Look where everyone's positioned from the side of Exillium right now. No one except PX is really looking at the stairs. They're just letting them walk up essentially for free right now. But they have angles watching it. You saw a second ago where we had the Pulse watching.
Does Jack have a good angle there? I think he does.
I think this is where...
Is that the one that he has?
Yeah, this is exactly where the Maestro was playing last time.
That's a good angle.
Yeah, Maestro had this one out last time.
He can just peek out and kill a guy in Yellow Stairs. Very strong angle. It's a very good angle if you have a mirror window as well.
Yeah.
But of course, mirror.
No, mirror in Europe.
Nobody plays mirror in Consulate. Because it's just not good. There's literally a connector window that gets rid of that mirror window. The numerous ways you can get rid of it from below. The only strong point about mirror is a basement defense. But even at that, you cannot play up close and personal to deny a plant on White Van. So there is a lot of issues with mirror, especially for Consulate.
This is my concern now, is all this freedom that's being given to Wind and Rain. They've got themselves inside bathroom as well, where suddenly they have much better angles. Now, finally, we're going to see Pat rotated all the way across there from upstairs, dropped down from Visa, rotated all the way under, and still found that kill. Now, Tyrant's still doing the work that we saw him doing in the first half, picking off Jack. And even watching towards main lobby, you've got the side here coming in from the Legion, the bathroom pinned in. But turning into a 3 versus 3, the plant going down, there we go. Wind and Rain get in, so much room being given to them on Yellow Stairs that they're like, well, if you're going to let us in, guys, we'll just quite happily walk through the front door. They're now in a 3 versus 2 situation. Exillium sitting a bit too defensively, being punished for it. And Pat, completely alone at the bottom of Yellow Stairs, has now got to rotate and do all the work as he is the last man standing into a 1 versus 3. They have a good idea where he is. The spray coming in from Skylight. Everything he's going to be looking towards is a huge risk for him here. Blackout will pick that one up. And I've got to say, that is such a huge shift. Exillium, so much room being given. Wind and Rain, when they were on the defense, was saying, right, everyone watch Yellow Stairs. We do not let them up this angle. On the other side of it, they were like, guys, just let them walk up. It's not a problem. We'll deal with them when they're at the top. The problem is no one dealt with them. They found themselves a free plant. And that was a bit of a walk in the park for Wind and Rain.
Yeah, it just shows the strength of a Capital.
Just a little bit.
You know, you can have that coverage of essentially cutting off, what, 4 sightlines? 2 Capital bolts cuts off a sightline because they cannot play in that position. And then you have 2 fixed shooting bolts with the smokes, which, of course, just straight up cut off the vision. So overall, I think that was Wind and Rain really utilizing their gadgets that they have available and just outright winning their gunfights. Tyrant making that big risky play, swinging on in, trying to find something inside a bathroom. And even though he did die eventually in bathroom, it still gave his team intel into positionings of the remaining defenders. As soon as Jaeger killed him, oh, Jaeger Yellow Stairs, and that means they don't have to worry about anybody else because they know exactly where all 3 were left in.
What hurt me the most, even with the Capital inside, they didn't need to use it too much for that denial because you had 2 playing inside A, 1 inside Connector, you had the Pulse playing downstairs inside of Visa, you had 1 man actually sat on Yellow Stairs itself, and again, it's how much room they're willing to give over, which hurt me there, but in this case already, where they're set up now, still in the setup phase, of course, but we do have 2 or 3 members starting to look towards this Yellow Stairs. Hopefully, there's a bit of a stronger defense coming through. They keep an eye on Skylight. It was the Skylight from the Spiral Staircase that saw them lose 1 man really early on. Admittedly, kind of not paying attention to that really did come to cost them, but I would like to see them put more men over towards Yellow Stairs here. Do not give Wind and Rain the freedom they were looking for. If you force them to burn utility and give space, fine. Just don't give it for free.
So once again, Yellow Stairs is certainly just a talk of console at the moment. It's all about the yellow.
It is, mate, yellow
Nobody's
control.
went admin at
Everyone's
all.
been inspired by Secret.
Yes, that could be one. But I also believe that nobody wants to go admin is because Pulse is so dominant by both teams. Both teams love this operator, and if you look at admin, oh, look at all that wooden floorage.
Tells you more than enough.
That's not even that, like I talked about. See if you look at, Alex, just over towards the staircase. Right, that little, no, other one. There you go. See that wooden, that are above you, yeah? That little wooden place with the desk. You can C4 that from below. And it's a great C4 spot. Because how many times, for example, do you have attackers stacked up outside of there? It's a great one. And the amount of times I've seen double kills come out of that has been unbelievable.
Now he's Alex the Observer in air quotes, just so you guys know.
Yeah, because he does so much observing these days, in air quotes. You know, that's how that works.
Hey, it's more cinematography than it is observing. I love it.
It's great. It's like we can just have like a free-moving camera, isn't it?
Yeah, I do prefer this kind of like oversight constantly until we get to the die moments where gunfights are the most important thing. But at these early stages, it does come down to the strategy and execution than straight up gunfights. But Yellow Stairs, once again, full control being over to Wind and Rain. They are losing members. Pat and PX find themselves a couple 1 to a Legion. Not really the kind of thing you want to be dying to too early on, but admittedly he's watching straight at the top of these stairs now as well. The push down here, a little bit aggressive. I think he was expecting someone to run up there on the drone and go for a kill. But he's also very aware that there are a couple playing towards Skylight. This is one thing that Wind and Rain have done that Exillium didn't, is they are making use of that roof to the best they can to try and find these angles, pick off a couple of members like we saw back in the first round of their attacking half. But this round, a little bit quieter, a bit more scrappy so far between both sides.
Pat still below, has the Nitro Cell, so this is looking great, I believe, for the players of Exillium. This should be a pretty easy one to clutch out for them. They still have Jack alive with all his Toxic Babes, I'm sure, as well. I don't really know where Wind and Rain can go from here. They're so spaced away from each other. You have one in connector, one on the balcony, and then one over still in the B windows.
And
no one give here.
And no one's inside with 30 seconds to go. No one's in a spot where they can actually move in and get a bit of a pinch movement on here. The defenders are free to just sit and wait. I'm not too sure. I was about to say I'm not sold too much on Jack being this close when he's still got 3 smoke canisters to play with. But he's throwing them out there, maybe a bit wildly, but 15 seconds left to go. This is pretty much theirs to go. Why are you doubling them up, my man? But he's going for it. Really wants to deny that swing in from the window. Now A is the point that's potentially under threat, but it's only by the Capitale. Still has those smoke bolts online, but of course no need for those right now when you're in a 1 versus 3. PX comes in, and Wind and Rain take themselves their second round of the attacking half. Exillium yet to find a successful defense. And I literally think it comes down to, once again, being too willing to let Wind and Rain play their strategy. They're not trying to push and upset them, catch them off guard. It's a strange one, because even with Pat, you're seeing the difference. I've got to say, look, Pat, buddy, I love you, but you're seeing the difference between Pat and Torrent on the pulse here.
Looking at it so far, we're at round number 9, so we've had 8 rounds being played. 6 console office defense already. Already 6 of them. Only the odd ones out were a garage and a lobby. And every single time, whatever team took control of yellow won that round. What does that say?
Tells you the story. Yellow control is important,
That's it. That's what it's all about. But to be granted,
I don't mix that round.
Not a single team has decided to go for an admin push.
Yeah.
So that is also something that we have to take in consideration. Everybody is hell-bent on the B.
It shows their value on that one, I think, if nothing else as well, that they are putting a lot of stock into yellow. And understandably so. It gives you such a great angle because you can push forward from there, take over bathroom. If you want to get through the wall and take over the bomb site itself, you can do that as well. And then, of course, then you've got the support of the windows too. It's just such a strong location to take, where admin, really your support becomes relatively limited once you actually get into the room itself and have to try and push through the other rooms there, where angles are being held, where, as we've seen already a couple of times, you have a smoke sitting on B site upstairs. A site, sorry. No one can get through that door. It's so difficult to make the play. We saw Pi's, air quotes, strong defense from last week. Great example of that. So I hope from last round at least Exillium are inspired and saying, well, if we can hold off yellow stairs, Wind and Rain has shown that they don't really know what to do. They sit on windows and wait and try and find a way in. They're not prepared because they haven't got the time to play towards admin instead. That's the winning formula.
So we will be seeing the lobby, not the garage, which I'm sure everybody was expecting to see. So they've kind of figured, oh, well, we know garage is a strong defense for us. If we win that, we may as well go lobby anyway. But we may be seeing the old classic, the old B rush potentially. In this case, it will come in from the Visa side. They've just scarred. They were in, and now they're just waiting.
They might come back to regret not picking up Allison as well. In a spot there with, yeah, and about 20 to 25, 30 HP remaining. Not the healthiest of circumstances, but alive with that carbine. Going to be able to do enough work when it comes down to the gunfights, I feel. And immediately they're pulled back to yellow stairs once again. So even though the site this time round isn't playing around that, we know that they've pushed in instead through the main entrance off to the east side. They don't care.
I don't think for this particular bomb site, yellow is a necessity.
It's not.
I think that the office, the briefing room, the meeting room, it's more of the pressure for defenders is holding that, because of course, if you lose control of that room, you lose control of your circle desk, which is what you never want.
I mean, the controller's taken on this east side of the map as well. They haven't worried a huge amount about the upstairs. They've got a couple of window players on the go, keeping an eye on what's going on. You've got Harris.
Spiral. He could go up Spiral.
Yep, Harris pushing into main lobby as well.
Honestly, if we can see Tyrant push up Spiral, it's free real estate at the moment, and he picks up, what, a kill? 2 kills? That should be game state match for Wind and Rain, essentially.
They can definitely look to try and play inside onto B here. It's just when they choose to pull the trigger and go for it. Allison Tyler getting picked up on the stairs there by Blackout, that long range across. But now they know they're in a great spot to be able to go for this one. So here we go. Going to make sure they've got this in there as well to get rid of any of those pesky Legion traps. Charge right in. Go for the plant inside as well. Watch out for the upstairs spray, though. Not quite getting caught out there. Everything has been smoked off. Every angle, every way in has been covered away. So even by the friendly smoke. But they managed to get themselves in. The plant is down. They lose 2 members in the process. But Wind and Rain are the ones in control here, and it's a retake for Exillium.
Pat will try and push up in. He'll spot one with PX along assisting him. Shots rattle out, but PX will miss his, but Blackout certainly will not. So it goes into a free versus free. Pat will start to go for the counter. The fuse is nobody gonna be here. Is he gonna get away with it?
Guys?
Oh,
I guess it's only Blackout left.
That was anticlimactic.
A bit strange. They had Harris outside main lobby, and I believe he missed everything there. Yeah, he was late. He just sat outside main lobby like, oh, surely they're not going for it now. He was a bit too, I don't know, maybe the timing was off ever so slightly. Didn't expect a defuse to come through that fast, but second too late means you lose the round.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that round, because that was just weird.
It was a weird ending, but it
started
literally
off
came down
with,
to miscall.
oh my, everybody's rushing in free visa. Oh, it's very slow. Everybody is now on tellers. Oh, it's start up again. They've smoked, they've planted. Oh, it's slowed down again. Oh, they've diffused.
Admittedly, once the plant is down, it's kind of like, cool, all we got to do is hold the angles here and don't let them run in. They had 2 playing around stairs, as we saw. Blackout denied PX coming downstairs, kept the other one pinned downstairs, so it wasn't a problem. Harris, buddy, one job. One job, watch the bomb. That's your only job.
I personally think that Harris planted in a very bad spot, because if you're planting at that circle desk, it's circular, so it's, you know, if you plant right on to the edge of it, you can then also try and long arm defuse by having just a little inch of cover, since it is circular. So I believe that's what we call Maz, so, or Math, whatever you guys call it. We call it Maz in Northern Ireland.
You call it Maz?
Yes, Maz, I know.
Well, I'm glad that we call it English, and apparently you guys don't speak it.
I learned English. I passed English GCSE.
Okay.
That was
but
good.
yet you call it Maz.
Yes, honestly. Take it up with the educational board.
I've got to ask a really random question. What do you call McDonald's?
McDonald's?
Do you call it not Mackies or Maccas or
No,
anything
we're
like
not.
that? No,
That's
just
really
McDonald's. Okay, you guys aren't that advanced yet. No problem.
Advanced?
Yeah.
That's just McDonald's, isn't it?
It's all good. So let's see. There are other, indeed, takeaway restaurants that you may refer to on this broadcast, but for now we'll stick with the one.
You guys will never understand the Northern Irish vocabulary that I possess.
I will never, and I won't attempt to any further.
Nope.
However, apparently, a lot's going on in this round. 4 kills have already rained across in the opening 25 seconds. It's been a rush all the way through. Harris quite keen to make up for that slight misplay in the last round. He's going to be saying, well, let's get this diffuser down. It's down in 31 seconds, and I think this is going to be the quickest plant we've seen of the night so far. But the retake, as I said last round, is on for Exillium. Now they've got to make it work, though, in this 3 versus 3 scenario. Unfortunately, the gadgets they've got down here from the Legion aren't too useful once they're already on site. Same with the Maestro. But now he's trying to see what he can find into a 2 versus 2 situation. Going for a bit of a spray. Might find his own teammate running across there. Not quite to be the case. Right idea, wrong altitude by the looks of it. They're laid down. It's Tyrant waiting here, running around the corner, walks straight into him. Maestro had the right idea, but again, not the right altitude. Trying to spray through the wall, find one more. In this case, wrong. They're not behind the bomb. There's one off to the left-hand side as well. The rotation going to come through, and it's going to be a win for Wind and Rain. What a rapid round, a rapid victory. We go into round 11.
So, this time, the mighty Rush B has struck once again, and it does work out well, so we're going 5-5, so this means that we will see maximum rounds once again, so even though we only had 2 matches tonight, we'll still be seeing the maximum rounds for each game. 24.
Question is, does this go to a draw, or does one of them snatch the victory away? It's playing into the same story as last week. These games are ridiculously close. The first game ended in a draw. Admittedly, should have been a 7-5, you feel like, if, who knows, hadn't fluffed up the last round. This one sat at 5-5. Both teams making enough mistakes, I feel, or enough crazy plays like we saw in that last round, that it's really hard to call which way it's going to go.
It kind of reminds me of, I forget what match it was that I cast it, but it was literally whatever team got the first blood would win that round. So whoever died first would lose, whoever got the first kill would win. And it happened every single time. It was an anomaly. We've never seen that before in Siege. And for this bomb site, console office, which is what we've seen so many times so far, whoever takes yellow stairs wins, whoever doesn't, well, they lose. So that's what it's all about, is the yellow. It's weird. Weird.
Although it feels for the last few rounds it hasn't been a factor at all.
No,
Teams have just said, guys, we've warded on this point now for 6-7 rounds. Let's try something else. Come on.
This is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th time already. So it puts us well over past the 50% rate.
You spoke about wanting to see an admin take, and we might see that coming through here.
Yeah, this doesn't happen. This is the way console works. It's literally, if you see a team spawn to the east, admin, west, yellow. That's the way it works, and that's where Pulse is great. Because Pulse can go right in towards server. You can pulse in towards that east side. If you see any heartbeats, if you see 3 or more heartbeats, it is going to be an admin. If you see none, or maybe if you see like 1 or 0, then it's going to be a yellow stairs. That's the way it works. That's the way it's always worked for Pulse.
I know where they're coming. It feels kind of weird to risk it in these final couple of rounds as well, when we've seen success for Wind and Rain overall pushing on yellow, where Exillium have played a bit too far away, and except for that one round where they got massacred on yellow stairs and it became about trying to play windows and getting crushed, essentially. Other than that, it's looked good for them, but they're trying a completely different attack here, mixing it up in what are potentially the dying rounds. Playing off towards the south side here as well, the Legion feeling a little under threat. Everyone else off towards the northeast side. They'll be pushing in more towards the spiral stairs, potentially then looking towards this wall here. And we spoke about the Thatcher and none of these walls really being super ideal to plant on. But you can hear those ADS being burnt out. They want it clear. They want to get themselves inside. And this is a risk pushing through here as well, because now you've seen the bullets raining down this particular angle. Be very careful running back in. Safe inside still, knows one on the window, been droned out here as well. They know where he is. Question, does he go aggressive or pull back a bit more defensively?
The reason why he did that impact grenade was to try and musk his movement. But what? PX doesn't manage to find the kill onto Tyrant. Kayak saves his fellow Scout brethren with the skin of his teeth there. And well, the advantage does go in favor of Wind and Rain. You still have that extremely long angle being held by Tristan. This is a very common one, and Pat, he tried his best to get things working, but Blackout has the angle being held. And well, this does set up quite nicely for Wind and Rain to take their time now. They have around about 30 seconds or so to really make things happen. Long desk is still an option for them whenever nobody's defending that. As Jack, he is stuck between a rock, a hard place, and another hard place. So what can he do in this position? Even Allison Tyler downstairs, what's he going to do? He's going to do nothing. He's not as if he's a Pulse. Safety still with that long angle, will find Vex, but still all the advantage goes in favor of Wind and Rain. Here comes the utility with those asphyxiating bolts. Allison Tyler staking up in towards the spiral as the diffuser will start to get initiated with the plant. Just biding his time. They may be looking to go for the retake. Here comes a swing from Maestro, but does not find anybody with that ACOG. One kill does go back in the favor as the Jaeger. He will find Harris. So Thermite gone, but still all off the control is in favor of Wind and Rain. Even the Thermite starting to get tagged from long angles, and well, Tyrant, he will put him to bed. Playing on the connector window. Allison Tyler trying his best. 1 versus 2, but I think there's too many angles being held. One still on the connector, one downstairs for who knows what reason. Trying his best, but I even think that the time is slowly starting to trickle away from himself. Actually, he's in quite a good position. Nobody's here. He has to try and stick the diffuser. Tyrant swings on him, but does he have enough time? I think he does. 2, 1. Yes, there we go. That was cutting it close, but hey. Still, Wind and Rain. Great attack. The admin. First admin we've seen. Has worked a charm.
Has indeed. A bit scary there towards the end of that defuse, but like you say, excellent execution, clearing out the east side in its entirety. And I really like actually where they chose to plant as well. Acknowledging that there was one playing off towards yellow. Just remove that angle entirely. Don't plant behind the desk. You saw where the Maestro was looking down, trying to find where that plant was. Couldn't see it. Equally, they know no one was going to play down those sides off towards the stairs, towards the southeast of the map. They're pushing up there. Well, they would have been missed some great detail because they pretty much cleared the entire east side. So it was just safely protected away. Maybe not the best plant because it wasn't so easy to protect from the window itself, but smart overall. And Wind and Rain put themselves at match point. Exillium with the opportunity to force the second draw of the night, or Wind and Rain can just about pull ahead and close this one out. Or it can go the same way as what we saw with Who Knows, which was feeling like they should be able to win it out. Please, can we just go with, like, I don't know, not observer, cinematographer. Oh, it's already there at the top. I just didn't read it. It's too
Alex, the cameraman.
The cinematographer.
I'm sorry, but we already have a cameraman in Siege. He's literally called cameraman. Sorry to say.
Many varieties of cameraman.
I don't know, what other names do I have for Alex?
Camera operator, the boy.
The boy.
The man, the myth, the legend.
The boy. I like that one. That boy.
I call him the boy all the time.
Remember that boy? It's like the picture of the frog on the unicycle.
That boy, that was like the start. That was the start of the meme revolution. It felt like.
That was good. I enjoyed
Prior
that.
to that, there wasn't too many, and then it all went nuts. Nope. And here we live in a world where memes are a daily dose of medication.
Yep. And you know, we do some good meme stuff over here. UK Prem, I think we do anyway.
Sometimes.
I'm usually a good victim of the old memeage. I'm usually right in the centre of it.
I mean, like I say, there's always a beautiful opportunity here to remember that you have had a good section of a map named after yourself for all time.
Yeah, no.
It's always going to be a thing.
You know, if you wanna, I make memes. I made a good meme. I made 2 good memes.
You made some great videos.
The videos.
I won't lie.
And Avengers Prem game coming soon.
There are other movies available. I feel I have to mention that.
I don't know what you're talking about. I said Avengers Prem game. That's nothing to do with a big blockbuster title. It's gonna be so good. Avengers Prem game. I've got all the characters, everybody who's who.
It's even me.
It's gonna be so good.
So I feel like
to be fair,
now.
you're Black Widow, so you're actually dead in Prem game.
Cheers,
don't even start with spoilers.
Spoilers, man.
It's been like a month. If you haven't seen it by now, that's your problem.
We do talk some rubbish. It's fantastic. And admittedly, it's been a, air quotes, rubbish first 60 seconds. Not a lot has happened. No real big entry points being taken by Wind and Rain yet. Whereas Exillium are kind of just sat back saying, well, where do they come from? When does the shooting start? As it's happened in the last few rounds, it hasn't been really going in our favor. We are about to lose the game if we don't keep this one going. And Wind and Rain taking things very slow. In fact, with a split set up here as well, they've got Tyrant hanging off towards the far right-hand side. They've got 3 on the left outside yet to move in. And we are down to half-time so far.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think, kind of very close for Wind and Rain. It's not as if, for Wind and Rain, they haven't even utilized that buck yet. Nothing on piano has been opened up, and I think they may start to struggle with this. We could be on the verge of, yet again, another draw here tonight. Certainly something that is plausible. And Pat, he's still above. He's making his own shotgun holes. He's trying to deny the plant if it tries to come on in. Tyrant, like we've talked about, if anybody's going to step up, it will be this young gunner. Doesn't want to take the fight, instead rotates around as
He's like, peace out.
PX, he was still lurking above as well. You have to keep that in mind. Wind and Rain, they're at a standstill. Not good.
I'm not so sold, although there seems to be a big movement looking in towards this garage now, and if we've seen anything tonight, well, who knows, showed multiple times that last minute and a half to 30 seconds doesn't matter. What counts is the execution in the final 30. But here we go, smokes are out, they're pushing in now as well. Can they find this Maestro? They've already lost 1, lost 2nd. Suddenly it's not looking so good, although they do find at least 1 trade to come back onto their side. They have the Capitao on side to push in with if they choose to, but the problem is you've got Pat lurking upstairs. They have left it very late. But Wind and Rain is still in the spot to get in here. They're finding themselves 2 kills in the final. They are in control of garage, but now you've got to keep an eye on yellow stairs.
Pat trying to push on in, as Alison Tyler will fell. Tyrant's a 2 versus 2 and 2 a 2 versus 1 because essentially at this stage Maestro is injured. He has no hope. Another one, but no! Wind and Rain pull it out of the bag. How have they won that round on the garage? But nonetheless, Wind and Rain take the win. Exillium so close yet so far all at the same time. As you guys seen in the vote, it was 78% of you guys said that Wind and Rain would win, and well, you guys were right.
You're definitely not wrong. That's a pretty clear thing to say.
Definitely
But
not wrong.
if nothing else, this just kind of accentuates what we were speaking about earlier on in saying that this is a close competition. After last week, after this week, there is no denying that anymore. Yes, there's a couple of teams who maybe you put ahead of others, but as it stands from these results, it's anyone's win to get into that top 4.
Yeah, and now that means that also Exillium, they've had 2 losses in a row.
Again, still, all right. I'm gonna I give every team hope as much as I can. I give every team hope. For Exillium, that is still yet again another hard matchup for themselves. That's Wind and Rain, a team which we pitched to be at least top 4 to make it to those live finals. You should be proud. I was really impressed. Some of the stuff they had, and I think they're only going to get better. I really do.
Yeah, they did come very, very close to securing that draw. But I mean, one thing that you guys were talking about, especially in that second half, was how much more Wind and Rain's defense seemed to be so much more robust than what Exillium were putting out of their defense. You know, what was it that was really key to that?
It was a lot more pressed, I felt. I mean, we're going to see a good example here of how much they were willing to hold off on yellow stairs. And Kayak, a couple of times I did say during it that he was a bit aggressive sometimes, pushing downstairs where maybe there was no real need to, I thought. And it came out to bite him a couple of times. And they did lose a round a couple of times where they lost the 2 members that were covering yellow stairs. And suddenly everything fell to tatters. But it was that willingness to be more aggressive on the defense that I think paid off for them more often than not. Obviously, we still ended the half 3-3. The whole war was around yellow stairs for basically their first half of it. It was down to Exillium to mix things up, and they chose not to.
I think it kind of shows the difference is that Exillium, whenever they were backed in a corner, they just kind of lost it from there. For Wind and Rain, it shows their resilience. It shows that even though things are not going as planned, they can still make it work with what they have. And that, again, I think just shows the level of coordination, team chemistry, and just overall skill level of both the teams.
Yeah. Now, in rounds 4 and 5, I think it was you, Demo, who made the comment that Exillium looked like they were doing so much better when they started to pick Nomad. Do you think that maybe if they'd have done that earlier, this would have been closer more to a draw, or even potentially an Exillium win?
I think for both teams that have probably never played each other, those early rounds, I think similar to what we've seen from T4H and Who Knows, it's just feeling out to see how your opponent plays. Eventually Exillium did caught on, but I don't think we can really criticize them for not catching on quick enough. I think it's, again, a very difficult thing, a subject to touch on is, yes, they're starting to lose. Like, to be fair, they did win that first attack without the Nomad, so kind of those next couple of rounds, they were like, oh, who won it without it? We maybe don't need it. And then finally, whenever Wind and Rain took their stride, then they pulled out the Nomad to try and counter and shut all of that down.
All right, well, it was a pretty exciting game. Of course, that is going to be the last game. We are going to go to a short break, but we will be back afterwards, so make sure you hang around for some more post-game content.
M&M were, for me, the dark horse. There wasn't anything we could go off. They were brand new.
When we lost Funkers, we was definitely worried. Like, to find another fragger, that's good. It's hard. You should have heard me. I was like, I didn't think we would make it.
We're looking to go aggressive. Stiz going to be hearing. Actually, it's not going to be Stiz. It's going to be playing up close and personal with the Alda. I think they have a suspicion that here comes the Sophia charges. One will go in, two will go in. Doki finds Stiz. Could this be it? Leppa inside of the 1 versus 2. He finds one onto Doki. But this will be it. Often known as the second best team in the UK. Today they take that away from Team Secret as they are your ESL Premiership champions for Season 3 of Rainbow Six.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the ESL Premiership. Now we have had both of our games that we're going to be having today, but it's time that we start looking back on the day, seeing the results that we had come in. It's been a pretty exciting day. We had a pretty definitive win and a pretty exciting draw.
I think it's both a mix of enjoyable fun and clown fiesta, basically. Lots of mistakes being made, admittedly, across both maps. At times when games could have been swung either way if those mistakes weren't being made. I'm pretty sure there's 1 or 2 that players will be haunted by for a few days. But overall, it was interesting again to see that the Prem is still pretty close, that there are teams competing neck and neck at this sort of level. And again, for Exillium, I think if nothing else, I'm really pleased to see that against M&M last week, it hasn't shaken. They can still compete, going 5-7 against Wind and Rain. I wouldn't say it's a result to be ashamed of. Wind and Rain, again, one of those teams that we do expect to sit in the top 4 come the end of the season.
It just kind of shows the strength of the new format where everybody plays each other once in a whole round robin. It's not the same as we had 2 groups. You play each other twice, whoever's in your group. I know that teams such as Wind and Rain, I was speaking to them, they were saying, oh, we kind of like the old format where it was 2 groups. I absolutely love this new format where everybody is in that one group because it shows that teams who, like for example, who knows, last season we're in the group of M&M and Team Secret. They could not win a game. They could not. You could say the same for teams like Exillium, who were like Flylo. They never won a game either because they were in that Team Secret M&M group. Exillium, sure, they haven't won yet, but they're still doing better than what we would have expected them to do. It kind of shows the elevation that they've done.
Now, obviously, we can see our group standings on the screen right now. There will be an announcement in the next couple of days on social media regarding the 2 games that weren't played today and what this means for the group standings. But one thing that I think is pretty interesting about that is we obviously have T3H up there with 4 points on the board, and they came in through open qualifiers, and now they're sitting at the top.
It's always the kind of story that I think a lot of people who play games, it doesn't matter which game it will be, you'll find that you'll play the game quite a lot and think, oh, there's no way I can ever compete. I can't stand up against those guys. No point me playing. Like, look at M&M. You qualified with them, and look where they got to.
Yeah, if you had told me 8 months ago that, you know, they'd be in Pro League, doesn't happen.
He wouldn't be a caster still. He'd still be trying to play.
If you look at that old remnants of who actually qualified for Prem way back when inside of Season 2 qualifiers, that was me and Nello were the only 2 people, you know, well, me, but only Nello is the only one standing. You just had Prox, you had Frau, and you had Unknown Hobbit back then. All players who have come and gone. And again, Prox is still around, yes, with who knows, but Nello has been the only one there who has stuck around. And it just shows that anything can happen whenever you just put your mind to it. And again, give credit to the M&M guys. I know that they said in that documentary, oh, we've been scrimming 40 days within the past 2 months. They have been, because I can confirm they have 6 maps a night. They really have been putting in everything they can, and well, they got their just rewards.
Yeah, and you mentioned the documentary. There is a link to it there on your screen on the Ubisoft UK YouTube channel, and it really does go through the kind of journey that this team have been through from the bottom up. And people assume that this sort of thing doesn't happen. You see these big pro teams, and you think, wow, that's such a lofty dream to be able to play. But actually, no, it's accessible if you put in the work and if you dare to just go forward and do it.
Dare to dream, I think, is the slogan that we use.
It is. Basically, the long story short is get playing Siege in the UK. If you find a chance to compete in the qualifiers for Prem, whether it's heading over to a LAN, a certain unnamed LAN, then by all means get yourself down and compete because it's a good laugh as well.
Well, we are going to be doing an interview with Doki from M&M to have a discussion with them about these kinds of topics. So let's go on over to that. Doki, hey.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. This is a bit unexpected, but here I am.
You're in your dark lair, mate. Look at you.
Well, we've been just obviously talking about the mini documentary that came out about you guys, your underdog story. Tell us a little bit about that, because it must be pretty exciting actually having people watch that now and see how far you guys have come.
I mean, the documentary in a whole is our journey from like farming, going through Prem, and then CL. It's not mostly focused on Pro League, so I think people are getting a bit confused about that. So it's mostly focused on our journey through Challenger League, which we had a lot of ups and downs, a lot of speed bumps along the way. So the fact that we've like got over that is like a big personal achievement for myself, and I think it's a good bit of motivation for other teams that are starting off in Prem right now that actually want to go far and go the full way, and to show you that it is actually possible. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that was something that I personally really liked about it, is the fact that everyone's, of course, talking about the fact that you are in Pro League now, but there was such an emphasis on those things that you had to overcome going through to the Challenger League, and it just goes to show that the thing that's at the end isn't the only important thing. It's the kind of journey, as cheesy as that may sound, it is really important. And how much do you think that's helped you personally and also your team grow as players now that you are where you are?
I mean, the only way to get into Pro League is through like a long period, like a long journey. Like you have to win CL, you have to relegate through CL, things like that. And that's like a long time. That can take like 6 months. If you're unsuccessful the first time, that could be a year, 2 years. It could be however long you want that to be. So we as a team have like got to know each other from not knowing each other at all, and now we're like really good friends. Well, most of us, but yeah, so we're like really good friends right now. So, I mean, I've got to meet people that I didn't think I'd meet. I've got to go places I didn't think where I'd go. And honestly, it's just a fantastic feeling to be in Pro League, to say that I'm a pro player right now. And I think I can speak for all my team when I say that. So, yeah.
Well, the Pro League is only a few weeks away. Are you guys feeling confident going into it?
Yeah, we're feeling really confident. We know that we have a lot of big names we're going up against, and yes, again, we're going into it as probably one of the weak links, but as we've shown in the past, we are capable of beating all the big teams, winning against the odds, etc. So I think this is going to be a good season for us, and it's definitely going to be a fun one to watch, and I can't wait for it to start. It's going to be fun.
Well, I certainly hope so, and you guys have definitely proved that you can overcome things that get in your way and those obstacles that do come about, and that could be something that's really important going forward for you guys. Do you think that's going to be a really major part of your success, or, you know, whatever happens in the Pro League?
Yeah, so I said this before in an interview. I can't remember, but like going into like mentality is a huge thing. Going into like against these big teams, like let's say we play G2 or Empire or whatever. These are very well-known players, very established players who have like great track records behind them. It's quite scary. So if you go into the mentality of like, oh, I'm gonna lose and all that, then it's not gonna work. So we need to play each game as if we are playing anybody. You know, we're not going to be playing G2. We're just going to be playing our opponent. So it's how it is, and you just got to face it game by game, week by week, and we're going to come out on top. So yeah.
Well, I think that's a really good way to go into it, and best of luck. But one last thing before I do leave you, I was asked to say this because he is a bit of an egotist, but Demo wants to know, what do you think of Demo?
Again, you asked me this last week as well. Demo, I mean, Demo's a great guy. I think he's got a bit of an ego. I think he's thinks a bit too much of himself. But yeah, he's a good guy for the most part, I guess. Yeah, he's not very good at the game though, so stick to casting. That's a good thing.
Well, thank you so much for your truly honest opinions, and best of luck with everything going forward. And we will see you back in the ESL Prem next week.
Thanks very much.
All right, lots of things being said there. Demo, you
Sorry,
okay?
I only take insults from people who are higher than 5'2". Apologies.
Well, you're higher than 5'2". This is your chance.
Stick to casting, mate. Or don't, because you're not particularly good at that either. I'm joking. You're actually okay. During that whole time when he was insulting him, I wanted to just rub his head and just say, it's okay, Demo. I still care.
I am not the comic relief of this desk. I am not.
Apparently you are for now.
Oh, no, apparently you are.
Maybe I might shave my head and go stage host, who knows?
God knows. Time will tell. But I think what Doki's saying there, and I think for those guys, it is still kind of in that stage where it's like, you speak to the players last week and they're still saying, yeah, we still think about it. It's still kind of processing and registering. It's getting there slowly, but it takes time. But now the reality is setting in of, in 2 or 3 weeks' time, you are playing against some of the best players in the world. Some of the most household names you'll come across, G2 being, of course, a brand that are across multiple titles. There's a lot of weight that these guys carry to them in reputation as well as in skill. And you're going to have to beat them if you want to get to the top. And they know that. They've beaten teams that people kind of said at the very start of it, well, MNM probably come into this as a third place team. We saw lots of articles and previews at the start of CL saying, yeah, they'll be in the top, but they probably aren't going to be the team that auto-qualify. All eyes were on Vitality, and while they showed against Vitality exactly what they can do, for me it's now, can you keep on breaking these glass ceilings and keep on proving that you can be at the very, very top?
I think one thing that's really good to hear from them and something to definitely keep an eye on as they go through is this mentality where he said, we're going to try not to see them as, you know, G2 or Empire, we're just going to see them as our opponent. And that's a really healthy way to look at it, especially going in as, you know, the underdogs, as they've kind of branded themselves with their documentary.
It's really interesting because my background's in a certain game inspired by a bunch of legends playing in a league. And all the
other
pro players,
esports titles are available.
I didn't say the name. I'm okay this time round. Ofcom, don't kill me.
You said the name.
I didn't. I said it back to front.
You literally
That's
said
allowed.
Legends of League.
I don't know what
Exactly,
game
that's not the
you're talking
official
about.
name, is it? But either way, the point is in that game, if you look at most pro players,
Siege of Rainbow Six. Is that what we're doing now,
Sure,
or something like that?
Something like that. I don't know. There's 6 rainbows and a siege. I don't know. Something like that. Either way, the point is that a lot of pro players will not. Well, they'll turn names off. They don't care who they're playing against. They're just saying there is a player here I need to beat. I don't care if it's a Pengu of the world. I don't care if it's a Karzeka of the world. We've got to beat them to be at the top, and that's what we're going to do. And I think in the interview, Doki showed that mentality is starting to kick in and saying, right, yes, they're big names, and sure, maybe a few years ago or a few months ago I'd have been starstruck by them. Now we've got to actually go and beat them and deliver.
It's also like, you know, those players are there because they deserve to be there, but we're also there. Well, not me, but Eminem, you know, it's like we're also here because we earned our spot here. We deserve to be here. So why should we be intimidated by these players who we're on the same level with them? We're all playing in the same league.
Exactly.
No, I totally agree.
I have no worries about this team. I really don't. I've seen this team since it started. I know every single one of these players. I know their playstyle. I know their mentality. I could probably name off everything that these guys do, and I have no worries at all with how they're going in. And personally, I think for every Pro League team, you should be scared of M&M because you don't know what they're going to do.
All I took from that was that Demo knows everything they do. Therefore, boys, check your rooms for cameras and microphones, please, because he's probably got them bugged.
Check your room.
You know, make
I'll
sure he's not
definitely be doing that
selling strats.
Demo the strat salesman.
His side hustle.
I don't know what you're talking about. M&M have been saving strats for the next Prem finals anyway, so.
Well, I think also one thing that might be quite nice is how many players are going to be coming into things like the ESL Prem thinking, wow, those guys did it, I want to do it.
It's a great story for the UK, I think, as well, with it being a UK organisation in M&M Gaming, is showing that you can get a team. You know, you guys play well enough, you'll get picked up by an organisation that's going to support you. And I think if you ask anyone on the team, they'll say they're supporting the entire way through this journey where they've got to now. And if nothing else, the documentary shows that too, is that journey has been under the same banner. It's been an org that's stuck with them. There is volatility in the scene, and you'll see this quite a lot season to season where teams do change. And sometimes those changes are for the better. It's not always going to be perfect, but over time things do work out. It's just a case of hard work. Because I think literally every single time I've gone on Twitter, I've seen the players saying, we're looking for scrims tonight, this time, this time, this time, and this time. That was most days. You have to work hard if you want to get to where you want to get to. You won't get there by playing 6 hours of competitive games a week. You've really got to turn this into your career if you really want to go for it.
6 hours scrims a day.
Exactly that.
It's like you have to remember, you know, these are pros, and a lot of people who want to end up at this point are aspiring pros. You have to treat it like a job.
And if you look at it, you go all the way back to year 1. It's bad to say, but literally anybody could be a pro player. Anybody. It was that easy. It was that simple. There was nobody around. The community, the player base was non-existent. There is very few pros who is still around from year 1. The only people I can think of is, well, there's a few Americans. You can think of Canadian, MVK, Necrox, Young, Slashhug, all the guys from Rogue. And then also you look at EU. What? You have pretty much the majority of G2 minus what? Kanto wasn't there. Uno now wasn't there. Pengu was there from the release. You have a couple of guys from Mouse. But, you know, Empire, brand new, were never really there. You have people from the stream, such as Aces was never really there. So many new people have came in, not from year 1, and there's very little of those guys actually left. And that kind of shows the skill base that it's kind of went into and how much of a struggle it is to really get to that place. You know, we've literally made it where you have to go through 6 months of qualifiers, and then you have to go into the big massive 7-week league where you play 2 matches a night against some of the best teams there, also challenging for a spot in Pro League.
Well, we are going to be, of course, seeing Eminem play again next week in week 3 of the ESL Premiership. But for now, that will be the end of today's show. Thank you so much to the casters, Derry and Demo, for joining, bringing you all the strats and all of the big
All of the ego, apparently. So
all
well,
the
that
ego.
too.
I don't know where
think
this. I don't know where this ego thing comes from. I don't.
Are you real?
Hey, I just turn up. I don't know. I just turn up.
He's looking nervous now. Well, I have been your host here, and of course, a massive shout out to our sponsors Intel, Gaming from Curry's PC World, AOC Gaming, and PaySafeCard. And we will, of course, see you again next week for more ESL Premiership.
Think she can't get a last-second clutch? Watch this. Think he can't carry his team while streaming in high resolution? All the while recording a once-in-a-lifetime win? Watch this. Think leveling up only happens in-game? Watch this. On Intel Core i7, they'll rise to every challenge. Now it's your turn. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7.
You ready? Huh? Hey, he's a good boy, huh? You ready? Huh?
Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.